Success doesn't come overnight, and it's not a result of luck. It's the product of focusing on yourself, your growth, and your daily actions. It's about staying disciplined, consistent, and committed to your goals, no matter what life throws your way. If you want to win, whether it's in your career, health, or personal life, you need to focus on one thing. In this video, we're going to explore how to do just that. We're diving deep into what it really means to focus on yourself, how to block out distractions, and how to push through tough moments that make you question whether it's worth it. This is about developing the mindset and habits that will lead to long-term success, one day at a time. If you've ever felt lost, unsure of how to move forward, or frustrated with your progress, this audiobook is for you. We'll talk about taking ownership of your environment, setting clear goals, and aligning your actions with your values so you're always moving forward, no matter how small the steps may seem. You're going to learn how to overcome failure, push through fear, and build the discipline needed to make consistent progress. By the end of this audiobook, you'll have practical strategies you can start applying today to keep you on track and help you stay focused on your path to success. This isn't about perfection, it's about growth. So stick around, take notes, and get ready to transform your mindset, your habits, and your life. The only thing standing between where you are now and where you want to be is your willingness to stay focused, to keep going, and to never give up. Let's get started. Chapter 1. Focus on your strengths to create lasting confidence. You don't need to become someone else to succeed. You don't need to fix everything or try to be perfect at what you're weak at. What you need is to stop ignoring what already makes you strong. That's where real confidence begins. When you start building on the strengths that are already part of you, something changes. You stop chasing false identities and you begin walking in your truth. That truth brings clarity. That clarity becomes direction. And that direction gives you the confidence to move forward with power. People often get caught in the trap of over-focusing on weaknesses. They believe that until they fix all their flaws, they won't be worthy of success or happiness. That belief is a lie. The truth is that what you focus on grows. If you only focus on your weaknesses, those will grow. If you focus on your strengths, those will grow too. Strengths give you momentum. They remind you of what you're naturally good at. They keep you grounded in your own potential, instead of getting lost in comparison or self-doubt. Everyone has strengths. The problem is that many people overlook them. They dismiss them as ordinary because they come so naturally. But that's the point. A strength feels easy for you, but that doesn't make it worthless. It means you're wired for it. That's what makes it powerful. Strengths show up in different ways. You might be a clear thinker, a calm communicator, someone who can listen deeply or organize chaos into clarity. You might be naturally driven, self-disciplined, optimistic, creative, or compassionate. Your strengths are the tools you already carry, and once you know how to use them, you begin to live from a place of power. Lasting confidence doesn't come from outside validation. It comes from knowing you can rely on yourself. It comes from mastering what you already have. Most people wait to feel confident before they act. But confidence is not a prerequisite. It's a result. You don't wait for it, you build it. You build it by using your strengths and proving to yourself that you are capable. To focus on your strengths, start by identifying them. Think about the moments when you feel most alive. When time disappears because you're completely in the zone. When something feels almost effortless but incredibly meaningful. Think about the feedback you've received that made you think, that's just who I am. Write those moments down. Reflect on what you were doing, how you felt, what others noticed. That's where your natural strengths live. Next, ask people you trust to tell you what they think your strengths are. Not just the obvious skills, but the deeper qualities. You'll be surprised what others see in you. Sometimes it's easier for them to recognize what you've been overlooking. Take their words seriously. Not as flattery, but as a mirror. Use it to get a clearer picture of how you show up at your best. Once you've identified your strengths, build your days around them. Design your routines and goals to lean into what you're already good at. If you're naturally organized, take charge of planning your time. If you're a strong communicator, make speaking or writing part of your daily routine. If you're creative, give yourself space each day to create something, even in small doses. When you lead with your strengths, you create progress that feels aligned with who you are. That alignment fuels motivation, and motivation strengthens confidence. There's a common mistake people make when they find their strengths. They assume that just because it comes naturally, they don't need to work on it. That's not true. A strength is a seed. It still needs to be developed. You don't just have a strength, you grow it. You sharpen it. You use it consistently until it becomes mastery. Strength doesn't mean you're already perfect at it. It means you have a head start. Now it's up to you to take it further. If you want confidence that lasts, you must stop comparing yourself to people who are strong in different areas. Your strength is not their strengths. And that's okay. What you admire in others might not be what you're meant to embody. You don't need to be the loudest voice in the room if your strength is quiet presence. You don't need to be the fastest if your strength is endurance. Your path doesn't have to look like anyone else's. The more you focus on your own strengths, the less distracted you'll be by what others are doing. Confidence comes from clarity. Clarity comes from focus, and focus comes from eliminating distractions. One of the biggest distractions is comparison. When you compare, you stop focusing on your own path. You begin trying to copy someone else's journey. That always leads to frustration, because you can't win by being someone you're not. Your strengths are your edge. That's where your confidence lives. That's where your energy multiplies. To create lasting confidence, you also need to build evidence. Confidence is built on proof. When you consistently use your strengths, you begin collecting small wins. Those wins matter. They remind you that you're making progress. They prove to you that you can trust yourself. Keep a record of those wins. Write them down at the end of each day. Reflect on what you did well, what you handled with strengths, what you moved forward. Over time, this becomes your personal evidence bank. When self-doubt tries to creep in, revisit that evidence. Remind yourself of what you've already overcome and accomplished. Another key to building confidence through strengths is to put yourself in environments where your strengths are needed. Don't hide your gifts. Use them in service of others. Confidence grows when you stop holding back. When you allow yourself to be seen for who you are. If your strength is empathy, offer support to someone going through a hard time. If your strength is problem solving, help someone stuck in confusion. When your strengths help others, they grow stronger in you too. It's important to understand that confidence is not the absence of fear. It's the decision to act despite fear, because you trust your ability. Strengths give you something to trust. Even when you feel uncertain, you can remind yourself that you are equipped. You have what it takes. You've built the skills. You've done the work. You don't need to fake it. You just need to use what you already have. Confidence is a choice. It's not something you wait for. It's something you decide. And that decision gets easier when you know your strengths and use them daily. Even when things get tough, your strengths are a source of resilience. They remind you of who you are. Even when circumstances are unstable, That identity is your foundation. When the outside world feels chaotic, you return to what's strong in you. That's how you stay steady. That's how you keep moving forward. There will be days when you feel off, days when you question everything. That's normal. But don't let those days define you. On those days, double down on your strengths. Go back to the basics. Do the things you're good at. Let that momentum rebuild your confidence one action at a time. You don't have to do everything. You just have to do what works for you. That's how you take your power back. Focusing on your strengths doesn't mean ignoring growth. It means starting from a strong foundation. From there you can stretch into new areas with confidence. You grow best when you're already rooted in what you're naturally good at. Use that stability to explore new challenges, knowing you can come back to your strengths when needed. Confidence that lasts is not loud. It's not arrogant. It's steady, quiet, and real. It's the kind of confidence that says, I know who I am. I know what I'm good at. I may not be perfect, but I'm powerful where it matters. That kind of confidence cannot be shaken by failure or rejection, because it's built on truth. If you want to win in life, start focusing on what's right in you. Start owning the strengths that have always been there. Stop hiding. Stop downplaying. Stop waiting for permission. You already have what it takes. The only thing missing is your commitment to use it. The world doesn't need another copy. It needs you to be strong where you're strong. It needs you to bring your full self to the table. Every time you use your strengths, you give yourself and others permission to rise. That's how you create confidence. Not through pretending, but through owning what's already real in you. Today choose one strength. Use it fully. Use it intentionally. Use it to move forward. And tomorrow do it again. Over time your confidence will stop being something you reach for. It will become who you are. That's how you win. One strength at a time. One action at a time. One day at a time. That's how you build a life that reflects your power. Not through force, but through focused, disciplined use of your strengths. This is your foundation. This is where your confidence lives. Keep building. Keep rising. Focus on you until you win. Chapter 2. Build daily habits that push you towards greatness. Every successful person you admire didn't get there by luck. They didn't wake up one day with extraordinary results or an exceptional life. They got there because they committed to a series of habits repeated daily, even when no one was watching. Greatness is not achieved through random bursts of effort. It's built slowly, deliberately, and consistently through small daily decisions that push you forward. If you want to reach a level in life where your name stands for something, where your presence demands respect, and where your results speak louder than your words, then you must build daily habits that make it impossible to stay average. Every single day is a brick. If you lay down the right brick today, then repeat that process tomorrow, and the next day you're going to build something unshakable. But you can't afford to waste days. You can't afford to live on autopilot or wait for the right mood to show up. Because the truth is, most days you won't feel like doing what needs to be done. That's why habits matter. Habits don't ask how you feel. Habits remove the decision-making process and create action without hesitation. That's how you win, by turning discipline into default. To move toward greatness, you have to be brutally honest with yourself. Are your current habits leading you forward or holding you back? Are you doing things today that your future self will thank you for? Because if not, you're not standing still, you're slowly drifting away from your potential. Habits are not just actions, they are decisions made over and over again about the kind of person you want to become. If your habits reflect mediocrity, your life will reflect mediocrity. But if your habits reflect discipline, self-respect and ambition, your life will reflect greatness. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. Goals give you direction, but habits determine whether or not you get there. It's easy to dream big. Anyone can make plans, talk about change, or get motivated for a few days. But very few people are willing to build a system they stick to every day, especially when it's boring, when it's hard, or when no one claps for them. That's the difference. That's the separation. The people who win are the ones who keep showing up no matter what. You have to ask yourself what kind of person you want to become, then build habits that match that identity. If you want to be mentally sharp, you build the habit of reading every day, even if it's just for 10 minutes. If you want to be physically strong, you don't wait for motivation, you move your body daily, no matter how small the effort. If you want to be focused, you don't just hope for clarity. You remove distractions every single morning and protect your mental space like it's gold. These aren't just tasks, they're commitments. You're voting for your future every time you do them. The best part about daily habits is that they compound. You won't see massive results in a week. You may not even see much in a month. But what you will see is momentum. And momentum is everything. It's the difference between staying stuck and becoming unstoppable. One good habit leads to another. Discipline in one area leaks into other areas. You start waking up earlier. You start eating better. You start speaking with more confidence. You stop tolerating excuses. That's the silent transformation that happens when you choose better habits. There's no shortcut to this. No magic routine or secret formula. The real magic is in your ability to stay consistent even when the results are invisible. That's where most people give up. They do the right thing for a few days, and when they don't see instant change, they stop. But the ones who win trust the process. They understand that greatness is invisible at first. They understand that you don't plant a seed and check it every hour. You water it daily. You protect it. You let time do its work while you do yours. That's the mindset required to break through average. Start small, but start with intent. Don't try to change everything at once. Pick one habit that aligns with the future you want and make it non-negotiable. That might mean waking up 1 hour earlier to focus on your goals. It might mean replacing 1 hour of scrolling with 1 hour of focused learning. It might mean writing your thoughts down each morning to train your clarity and self-awareness. The size of the habit doesn't matter. What matters is that it's consistent, that it stretches you, and that you do it regardless of how you feel. Feelings are unreliable. They come and go, but habits are built through action, not emotion. When you act even when you don't feel like it, you train yourself to become stronger than your moods. You become dependable, and dependable people are dangerous, not because they're loud, but because they're steady. The world can't knock you off balance when your foundation is built on strong daily routines. Think of your habits like armor. Every time you keep your word to yourself, you add another layer of strength. You become harder to break, harder to influence, harder to distract. You develop the kind of focus that can't be bought, the kind of discipline that people admire but don't understand. They'll wonder how you stay so consistent. They'll ask how you found so much motivation. But you'll know it wasn't motivation. It was your habits. You just stopped giving yourself the option to quit. You must also protect your habits from sabotage. That means controlling your environment. If your phone is stealing your attention every morning, move it out of the room. If certain people constantly interrupt your progress, create boundaries. If you're surrounded by chaos, simplify your space. Your environment should support your habits, not fight them. You can't build a powerful life in a disorganized, distracting setting. Clean up your world. Your surroundings reflect your standards. You also have to make room for boredom. Yes, boredom, because the process of greatness is not always exciting. You'll repeat routines. You'll do the same small actions every day. And that's okay. Stop chasing novelty. Greatness is found in mastery, not in chasing the next new thing. Repetition is the foundation of skill. The more you repeat something with intention, the deeper it gets wired into your identity. It becomes automatic. You stop thinking about doing it. You just do it. That's the power of habit. When you build habits that push you forward, you stop needing to rely on hype. You don't need people cheering you on. You don't need inspiration to show up before you do. You become self-powered. Your daily actions speak louder than your ambition. That's when things begin to shift. People start to notice. Results begin to appear. But more importantly, you feel something inside you change. You feel proud. And that pride isn't fake. It's real because you earned it. That's what most people are missing. They want confidence without work. They want success without sacrifice. But you can't cheat your way to a strong identity. You have to earn it. Day by day. Habit by habit. The results might come later. But the growth begins now. Every day you show up and do the work, you become more of the person you're meant to be. So ask yourself, what do I do every single day? Not once in a while. Not when I feel good. But daily. Because that's your direction. That's your trajectory. And if your habits don't reflect the future you want, then today is the day to change them. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Today. Start with one small habit. Make it solid. Build around it. Let it become part of your foundation. Then add another. Stack your habits like bricks. Over time, you'll build a fortress that nothing can shake. And when challenges come, and they will, you'll be ready. Not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. Because your habits made you unbreakable. Because you trained yourself to keep moving no matter what. That's the difference between people who live on purpose and those who drift. Purposeful people don't wait. They build. They rise early. They focus deeply. They protect their routines like their life depends on it, because it does. If you want a future that makes you proud, you must earn it through the habits you repeat today. There are no shortcuts, but there is a clear path. Do the right thing every day. Not once, not sometimes. Every day. Wake up with discipline. Move with intention. End the day with pride. That's the formula. That's how you build a life so strong, you don't have to chase greatness anymore. You become it. Keep building. Keep rising. Your habits are the seeds of your future. Water them with effort. Protect them with discipline. Watch them grow into something powerful. This is your time. Not someday. Not when it's easy. Now. Focus on you. Build habits that match your future. And don't stop until you win.
Chapter 3. Take full responsibility for your actions and decisions. The moment you decide to take full responsibility for your actions and decisions is the exact moment your life begins to change. Everything you've ever wanted, every goal you've set, every dream you've visualized, it all becomes possible the second you stop blaming the world and start owning your role in where you are. Until you do that, you'll remain stuck in the same loop, repeating the same cycles, wondering why nothing ever truly changes. But when you look in the mirror and say, "It's on me," you take your power back. You stop waiting for someone to save you, and you realize you are always the answer. Life will always present you with circumstances you didn't choose. People will hurt you. Opportunities will slip away. Obstacles will appear without warning, but none of that can define you unless you allow it to. What defines you is how you respond. If you point fingers, make excuses, or constantly complain about things outside your control, you stay powerless. But if you own your response, if you take control of your next move, if you look at every challenge as a test of your character, you grow. You build strength that can't be taken from you. You build a life that's rooted in self-respect and mental toughness. The truth is, nobody owes you anything. Not the world, not your family, not your boss, not your friends. And the quicker you accept that, the stronger you become. This doesn't mean you have to do everything alone. It doesn't mean you should never ask for help, but it does mean you must stop expecting someone else to fix what only you can fix. Your habits, your attitude, your decisions, your words, these are all under your control. And if they've led you somewhere you don't want to be, it's your responsibility to change them. It's easy to blame your past. It's easy to say, if only they hadn't done this, or if I had grown up differently, or if I had better support. But easy doesn't lead to growth. Easy keeps you in the passenger seat of your own life. Responsibility is hard because it forces you to face your weaknesses. It forces you to admit when you've been lazy, distracted, careless, or afraid. But that's where transformation begins. You can't change what you don't confront. You can't grow if you keep protecting your ego. The moment you stop hiding behind stories and start telling the truth to yourself, everything begins to shift. You've made choices that shaped your life. Some were good, some were destructive. That's part of being human. But every day you have a new chance to make better ones. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be accountable. When you take responsibility, you free yourself from the weight of regret. You stop pretending. You stop lying to yourself about why things aren't working. You look at your life and say, I created this, I allowed this, and I can change it. That's power. That's ownership. Responsibility is not about guilt or shame. It's about recognizing that your future is yours to create. It's about living with intention instead of reacting to everything that happens around you. Most people go through life on autopilot. They react emotionally. They make decisions based on fear or comfort, and then they wonder why they're unfulfilled. But the person who takes responsibility is different. They slow down. They think. They evaluate their behavior. They adjust. They choose growth over comfort. They don't get it right every time, but they don't run from accountability. You have to stop waiting for perfect conditions to step up. Stop waiting for a sign. Stop waiting for everything to feel good before you act. Life isn't going to hold your hand. It will challenge you. It will throw you into the fire. But that fire can forge you if you let it. It can burn away your excuses. It can sharpen your will, but only if you stop resisting it and start rising through it. The path to a stronger, more fulfilled life is paved with choices that are hard in the short term, but powerful in the long run. And you are the only one who can make those choices. Nobody else is responsible for your mindset. Nobody else is responsible for your focus. Nobody else is responsible for how you spend your time or who you surround yourself with. Those are all yours. If your circle is full of people who drain your energy, that's your choice. If your time is filled with distractions, that's on you. If your habits are destroying your potential, you have the power to change them. But not until you stop blaming and start owning. There is no breakthrough without brutal self-honesty. You have to sit with your decisions and see them for what they are. Maybe you've wasted time. Maybe you've ignored your potential. Maybe you've been lazy or careless or scared. That's okay. You're not broken. You're not a failure. But you have to face it. Because once you do, You can choose differently. You can stop living on repeat and start designing a new future. You don't need anyone's permission to change. You don't need a green light. You don't need everyone to understand. What you need is courage. The courage to admit you've fallen short. The courage to rebuild your habits. The courage to be better than your past. That courage comes from within. It grows every time you hold yourself to a higher standard, even when no one is watching. Taking full responsibility also means forgiving yourself for past mistakes, but refusing to repeat them. It means learning the lesson and moving forward stronger. Regret is a heavy burden, but responsibility lightens the load. When you say, yes, I made that mistake, but I'm not that person anymore, you cut the chains that held you back. You don't need to carry guilt forever, but you do need to use the pain to fuel your growth. That's the exchange. That's how you turn pain into power. You also have to stop waiting for validation. When you take responsibility, you stop looking to others for approval. You don't need someone to clap for your efforts. You don't need praise to stay consistent. You hold yourself accountable because you respect yourself. You show up because your future demands it. You stay disciplined because your purpose is bigger than your excuses. That's the mindset that separates winners from dreamers. Winners don't just hope. They take action with discipline, clarity, and self-respect. There is nothing more empowering than realizing you can change your life, starting right now. No matter what your past looks like, no matter how far behind you feel, no matter what other people think, you still have the ability to take control of what you do next. That's what responsibility gives you: a new beginning. Not tomorrow, not someday, right now. It won't always feel good. Growth rarely does. There will be resistance. There will be moments where you're tempted to go back to your old ways, to your comfort zone, to your easy habits. But you have to fight that urge. Every time you choose responsibility over excuses, you strengthen your character. You build grit. You train yourself to do what's right, not what's easy. And over time that becomes who you are. Stop explaining your failures. Start transforming them. Stop defending your bad habits. Start replacing them. Stop waiting for change. Start being the change. This is your life. No one else is coming to save it. No one else is responsible for how it unfolds. That responsibility belongs to you. And that's not a burden. It's a gift. It means you're in control. It means your past doesn't define you. Your actions do. So move with purpose. Own every step. If you fall short, take the lesson. If you succeed, stay humble. Either way, keep moving forward. You're not here to be perfect. You're here to grow. You're here to build a life that reflects your potential. That starts by taking full responsibility for everything you do, everything you say, and every decision you make from this point forward. This is the foundation of every breakthrough you'll ever experience. This is how you become unstoppable. Not because the path gets easier, but because you get stronger. Because you stop blaming and start building. Because you stop waiting and start acting. Because you stop hiding and start owning your truth. No more excuses. No more delays. No more lies you tell yourself to feel safe. Just responsibility. Just ownership. Just a powerful decision to become the kind of person who leads their life with courage, with clarity, and with relentless commitment. You have the power. You have the choice. Now use it. Focus on you until you win. Chapter 4. Prioritize your time to make every moment count. Time is the one thing you can't earn back, can't replace, and can't afford to waste. Not if you want to build a life of purpose, power, and progress. Every moment that slips through your fingers without intention
is a moment you will never see again. And while others might treat time casually, you can't afford to. Because once you understand what's at stake, your dreams, your peace, your future, you start to treat every hour like it matters. And it does, more than you think. When you begin to prioritize your time, your life starts moving in a different direction. You stop living reactively and start acting with strategy. You don't just get through the day, you own the day. You stop giving your time to distractions, mindless scrolling, and meaningless conversations. You start investing your time like it's the most valuable currency you have, because it is. You can recover from financial losses. You can bounce back from bad decisions. But you cannot recover the hours you waste pretending you still have forever. The people who rise to the top, who live with depth and meaning, aren't always the smartest or the most talented, but they're ruthless with their time. They know exactly where their focus goes. They say no often, they protect their schedule. They understand that life doesn't hand out extra hours for those who procrastinate or delay. You either use the time you've been given with intention, or you drift through life hoping things will magically change. But nothing changes unless you do. Every morning you wake up is a chance to either own your time or let it own you. And the truth is, most people live in reaction mode. They wake up late, they reach for their phone, they check messages that aren't urgent, they scroll through social media like it matters. And before they even take a breath, they've already surrendered the first moments of their day to things that don't move them forward. That's not living. That's surviving. If you want to live with intensity and purpose, you must take full control of how you spend your time. Time management isn't about squeezing more into your day. It's about making space for what matters. It's not about being busy. It's about being effective. Some people work all day and get nothing important done. Others focus for 3 hours and move mountains. What's the difference? Clarity, intention, focus, and a deep respect for their own time. If you treat every hour like gold, you start spending it with precision. You eliminate the noise. You plan with urgency. You become someone who is known for getting things done, not talking about it, not dreaming about it, doing it. You have to be willing to cut out anything that steals your time without giving value in return. That means looking hard at your habits, your routines, your conversations. Are they helping you build momentum, or are they just filling up space? You don't need more time. You need to stop wasting the time you already have. If something doesn't serve your growth, your peace, or your mission, it doesn't deserve your hours. Period. This isn't about being rigid or robotic. It's about aligning your time with your vision. When you know what you want, your time has to reflect it. You can't say you want success and spend hours doing nothing about it. You can't say you want to be disciplined and then keep giving your attention to distractions. Your time tells the truth about your priorities. If you don't like where you are, look at how you're spending your time. That's the root. That's the fix. There's a difference between being busy and being productive. Busyness is loud, chaotic, and full of motion, but often empty of results. Productivity is quiet, focused, and intentional. One feels like effort. The other produces results. If you're always exhausted but not getting anywhere, it's time to re-examine your priorities. Are you doing what matters most, or are you just doing what's easiest in the moment? The world is full of noise, distractions, and traps designed to steal your focus. If you don't guard your time, someone else will fill it for you with their priorities, their problems, their drama. You have to take control. You have to design your day around your mission, not around everyone else's demands. That might mean saying no to people who don't respect your time. That might mean cutting off mindless entertainment
that doesn't fuel your growth. That might mean waking up earlier, turning off notifications, or scheduling your focus like it's a non-negotiable meeting. Because it is. You have to stop treating your time like it's infinite. Every second counts. Every hour you give to a meaningless activity is an hour you take away from something that could have changed your life. You need to start asking yourself hard questions every day. What am I doing with my time? Is this helping me grow? Is this leading me closer to my vision? Is this building my character? Or am I just passing the time and calling it life? The people who live with excellence do not waste time. They do not kill time. They use it like a weapon. They sharpen their routines. They move with urgency. They execute even when they don't feel like it. That's what separates those who talk about success from those who create it. If you want more from life, you need to make more out of every moment. That's how transformation happens, through consistent, focused use of time, day after day. And yes, it's going to require discipline. You're going to have to make sacrifices. You're going to have to be honest about the ways you've wasted time in the past. But that honesty will set you free. Because the second you stop lying to yourself about your habits, you open the door to change. No more "I'll do it later." No more "I didn't have time." You had time. You just didn't prioritize it. And that ends now. Start taking inventory of your day. Track how you spend each hour. Notice where your energy goes. Notice what habits pull you off course. Notice what tasks drain you but bring no progress. And then make the changes. Ruthlessly. Relentlessly. Without apology. You don't owe anyone your time. You owe it to your purpose. The more you align your actions with your goals, the more powerful your life becomes. And don't wait for motivation. Motivation fades. Discipline is what keeps you moving. Discipline means doing what matters even when you're tired, even when you're uninspired, even when nobody is watching. Discipline is your edge. Discipline is how you multiply your time and make every hour count. The more disciplined you are, the less regret you'll carry. The less time you waste, the more life you gain. Don't fall into the trap of thinking you need giant leaps to change your life. You don't. You need consistent action over time. One focused hour a day can change your entire life in a year. But it has to be focused. It has to be intentional. It has to be aligned with your vision. You can't keep living by accident and expect to feel fulfilled. You have to live by design. This is your time. This is your window. Don't waste it trying to impress people who don't matter. Don't waste it chasing things that leave you empty. Don't waste it stuck in patterns that don't reflect your potential. Use your time to build something you can be proud of. Use your time to sharpen your mind, strengthen your body, build your legacy. You're not just passing through this life. You're here to create something meaningful. That requires time. And that means you have to stop giving your time to anything that doesn't serve your future. When the day ends and you look back, you should feel proud of how you spent it. Not perfect, but proud. Proud that you didn't let distractions win. Proud that you didn't waste hours complaining. Proud that you moved with intention. That feeling doesn't come from outside approval. It comes from self-respect. And that self-respect is built moment by moment, decision by decision, hour by hour. Your future is being shaped right now by how you spend your time. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Right now. Make it count. Not for anyone else but for you. For the life you said you wanted. For the person you're becoming. Time will either be your greatest ally or your biggest regret. The choice is yours. So choose wisely. Focus on you until you win.
Chapter 5. Train your mind to overcome doubts and negativity. Your mind is your greatest weapon or your worst enemy, and if you don't take control of it, it will control you with fear, hesitation, and doubt until you no longer recognize the strength you were born with. You cannot expect to rise while allowing your mind to pull you down with constant negativity. Every time you give in to a negative thought, you shrink your potential just a little more. Every time you surrender to doubt, you trade your future for temporary comfort. But when you decide to train your mind to fight back, everything starts to shift. You stop living from a place of weakness and start responding with strength. Negativity is loud. Doubt is persistent. These voices in your head are not polite. They will speak over your ambition, your discipline, and your self-belief if you let them. And if you've been listening to them long enough, they begin to sound like truth. But they're not. They're just old echoes of fear pretending to protect you. You don't need protection from growth. You need protection from the voice that tells you to stay small. You need to shut down the patterns that convince you you're not ready. Because the longer you hesitate, the more opportunity you forfeit. This battle isn't out there, it's internal. It's between who you've been and who you could be. The version of you that listens to fear cannot coexist with the version of you that steps into greatness. One must die for the other to live. You either silence the voice that says, "What if I fail?" or you live a life defined by hesitation and regret. But once you realize that the mind can be trained like the body, everything becomes clear. Just like muscles grow with resistance, your mindset strengthens with mental challenge. Every time you confront fear, you expand your mental toughness. Every time you say "I will" in the face of uncertainty, you take control. But let's not pretend this is easy. It's hard. Doubt feels real. Fear can paralyze. That's why most people settle. That's why so many dreams die in silence. Because it's easier to believe you're not good enough than to put in the daily mental work to believe that you are. But what's easy now becomes the pain of regret later. And what's hard now becomes the power that sets you free. You have to earn confidence. You have to build mental resilience, one thought at a time, one decision at a time. The process starts with awareness. You can't fight what you won't face. You must begin to notice the patterns that keep showing up in your head. The ones that say you're not ready. You're not smart enough. You don't have what it takes. Those thoughts aren't facts. They're habits. And like any habit, they can be broken, but only if you start replacing them with thoughts rooted in strength. That's not just wishful thinking. It's reconditioning your brain. It's mental discipline. When doubt shows up, speak back. Not with empty positivity, but with truth. I've been through worse and survived. I've earned my spot. I don't have to feel ready to act. These aren't just motivational phrases. They're tools. Use them. Train yourself to default to strength. The goal is not to eliminate all fear, it's to stop obeying it. To see doubt, acknowledge it, and still move forward. That's power, that's ownership. Mental training is just as real as physical training. You build it through repetition, daily, not when life is calm, but especially when life feels heavy. If you only try to be mentally strong when things are easy, you'll fall apart the second life throws you a challenge. That's why you must start now, in the small moments. When you catch yourself doubting, pause, breathe, redirect. Say something different, think something different, do something different. Over time, that's how you shift the narrative in your head. The world isn't going to wait for you to feel confident. You have to move forward, even when the voices say you're not ready. Because the truth is, confidence comes after action, not before.
You don't think your way into courage, you act your way into it. Every step you take while doubting yourself builds more inner strength than waiting ever will. Growth doesn't come from feeling safe. It comes from doing hard things while your heart is racing and your mind is uncertain. Start becoming the kind of person who doesn't give power to every thought. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who decides which thoughts to believe and which ones to reject. When a negative thought shows up, you don't have to give it energy. Let it pass. Replace it with clarity, with presence, with purpose. Not every thought deserves your attention. Not every doubt deserves your time. Don't water the weeds in your mind. You've got to develop a level of mental grit that doesn't rely on good circumstances to function. When life gets chaotic, when things don't go as planned, when the outcomes aren't immediate, you keep showing up. That's mental toughness. That's the kind of mindset that wins. Because in the real world, success isn't given to the most talented, it's earned by the most resilient. The ones who show up when it's hard. The ones who stay focused when their emotions scream otherwise. Your mind will test you every single day. It will try to convince you to shrink. It will feed you doubt, delay, and distraction. But if you've trained your mind with consistency, it won't matter what shows up. You'll be ready. You'll know how to navigate it. You'll stop reacting emotionally and start responding with purpose. You'll catch your thoughts before they spiral. You'll have the tools to reset, reframe, and refocus. That's what real mental strength looks like. You can't wait for someone to come fix your thinking. No one's coming to save you from your own mind. That's your job. That's your responsibility. And that's your power. Because when you realize that the only thing standing between you and your best self is the story in your head, you start editing that story. You stop being a passive character in your life. You become the author. You write the script. You choose the direction. Start holding your thoughts to a higher standard. If a thought doesn't move you forward, let it go. If it doesn't align with your goals, reject it. Don't let negativity squat in your mind rent-free. Kick it out. Replace it with thoughts that reflect where you're going, not where you've been. Speak to yourself like someone you respect. Your internal voice matters more than anyone else's. People will try to project their own doubts onto you. They'll tell you to be realistic, to play it safe, to not aim too high. But that's because they're living from their own fears, not your potential. You don't have to inherit their mindset. You don't have to agree with their limits. You don't owe anyone the smaller version of yourself just to make them feel comfortable. Your job is to build a mindset so strong that no outside opinion can shake your belief. And when setbacks come, and they will, you don't let them define you. You learn, you adjust, you keep going. Because that's what mentally tough people do. They don't let failure become their identity. They see it as feedback, as fuel, as part of the process. They know that growth doesn't happen without struggle, so they embrace the struggle. They trust themselves enough to keep moving forward without guarantees. This isn't just about feeling better, it's about becoming unstoppable. When you train your mind to reject doubt and ignore negativity, you free yourself to chase your goals at full speed. You stop waiting for permission. You stop living in fear of failure. You start showing up for yourself in a way that commands respect from others and, more importantly, from yourself. No more letting your mind bully you into inaction. No more giving power to thoughts that break you down. From this day forward, you commit to mental discipline. You commit to building a mindset that doesn't just survive but thrives. You rise above negativity, not by pretending it doesn't exist, but by becoming too focused to be distracted by it, too grounded to be shaken by it, too driven to be stopped by it. You've got everything it takes to become mentally unbreakable, but you have to earn it. With effort, with consistency, with honesty. This is the work. Training your mind every single day to stay clear, stay strong, and stay focused. That's how you win. That's how you rise. That's how you build a life so powerful. Doubt doesn't stand a chance. So go now. Focus on you. Train your mind. And don't stop until you become who you were born to be.
Chapter 6. Develop resilience by embracing challenges and setbacks. You were not born to live a life of comfort. You were born to conquer challenges and rise from setbacks. The path to greatness isn't paved with easy moments or smooth roads. It's forged in the fire of adversity. Life's true test isn't how you celebrate when things are going well. The real test is how you respond when things fall apart, when the weight of failure feels heavier than you ever imagined, and when everything you've worked for seems to be slipping away. That's when resilience is built. Resilience isn't something you're born with, it's something you create. It's not a trait you inherit from your parents, and it's not a skill that some people just naturally possess. It's a decision you make in the face of difficulty, a choice to stand up every time you're knocked down. When life pushes against you, it's your choice whether to resist or to let the pressure shape you into someone who is stronger, smarter, and better prepared for whatever is next. The world will try to break you down, and it will succeed if you let it. Setbacks are a part of life. They're inevitable. But here's the truth. Every setback is an opportunity to build resilience. Every failure is a lesson that teaches you to be better, to be more, to do more. If you never faced challenges, if you never stumbled, you would never discover your true strength. You would never reach your potential. It's the hard times that show you who you truly are. It's in the struggle that you find the power to rise higher than you ever thought possible. When challenges hit, the first thing you must understand is that they aren't personal. Life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. Every obstacle is part of a bigger plan, one that's designed to make you stronger, sharper, and more focused. The struggle you face today is shaping you into the person you're becoming tomorrow. Without these challenges, there's no growth. Without setbacks, there's no progress. So how do you develop resilience? The first step is embracing the challenge, not running from it. Too many people waste their energy wishing things were easier. They complain about the unfairness of life or blame others for their struggles. But the truth is, the only person you need to focus on is yourself. You need to stop looking for excuses and start looking for solutions. You need to shift your mindset from "why is this happening to me?" to "what can I learn from this?" When you face adversity, it's easy to feel like you're being punished. You might ask yourself, "Why me?" But instead of asking that question, start asking, "What can I gain from this?" Challenges are an opportunity for growth, and the way you react to them will determine how much you grow. Embrace the struggle. Embrace the discomfort. Know that with each challenge, you're building resilience, resilience that will carry you through every storm and make you unshakable when the next one comes. The key to resilience is perspective. It's not about avoiding failure or hardship, but about viewing them differently. When you look at setbacks as opportunities rather than obstacles, they lose their power over you. It's all about how you frame the situation in your mind. Instead of seeing failure as the end, see it as a beginning. Every time you fail, you learn. Every time you fall, you get back up with more knowledge, more determination, and more wisdom. It's this shift in mindset that turns failure into fuel.
But developing resilience doesn't mean going through life without ever feeling down. It's normal to feel frustrated, discouraged, or overwhelmed when things go wrong. However, what makes the difference is what you do in those moments. You have the choice to give in to those feelings or to push through them. Resilience is about standing up when it feels like everything is against you, pushing forward when you want to quit, and continuing to move toward your goals, no matter how tough things get. To build true resilience, you must learn to trust in the process. The road to success is not a straight line. There will be twists, turns, and detours along the way. You have to trust that every step, even the missteps, is part of your journey. When you understand that failure isn't a reflection of your worth, but a necessary part of the process, it becomes easier to push through. Trust that every challenge is preparing you for something greater. Trust that every setback is teaching you a lesson you need to learn in order to move forward. Another important factor in developing resilience is learning to manage your emotions. When challenges arise, it's easy to let frustration, anger, or fear take over. But letting these emotions control you only weakens your resolve. Resilience comes when you acknowledge your feelings, but don't let them dictate your actions. You are not your emotions. You are the one who chooses how to respond to them. The more you practice controlling your emotional reactions, the stronger and more resilient you become. And remember, resilience doesn't mean you have to do it alone. It's okay to lean on others for support when you need it. Having a strong support system, whether it's friends, family, or mentors, can make all the difference when you're going through tough times. But you must also understand that your resilience is something you develop on your own. While others can support you, the true power to overcome setbacks lies within you. It's up to you to keep going when the road gets tough. As you develop resilience, you will start to see patterns. You'll begin to recognize that the obstacles you face are often similar in nature. Whether it's financial struggles, relationship problems, or career setbacks, the feelings of uncertainty and doubt will show up again and again. But the more you practice resilience, the better you become at navigating these challenges. You'll stop seeing them as roadblocks and start seeing them as stepping stones. The greatest champions in life didn't become great because they avoided challenges. They became great because they didn't give up when the challenges came. They developed a mentality that said, no matter how many times I fall, I will always get back up. This is the mindset of a resilient person, a person who doesn't just endure the storm but grows stronger because of it. There will be times when it feels like you've hit a wall. You'll face moments when giving up feels like the easiest option. But this is when your resilience is tested the most. The strength to push through comes not from a lack of difficulty, but from your ability to embrace the challenge and keep moving forward. In those moments, remind yourself that resilience is not about avoiding pain. It's about using that pain to fuel your progress. So embrace the challenges ahead. Understand that setbacks are not the end of your story. They're the beginning of a new chapter. Every struggle is an opportunity for growth, and every failure is a lesson that will shape you into a stronger, more capable person. Keep pushing forward. Develop the resilience to face whatever life throws your way, knowing that the pain you experience today is the strength you will carry with you tomorrow. As you embrace the challenges that come your way, remember that your journey is yours to control. You have the power to shape your future, not by avoiding the tough times, but by learning to face them head-on with determination and strength. Don't fear the setbacks, welcome them, for they are the stepping stones to your greatness. Chapter 7. Commit to consistent progress, even when it feels hard. The moment you commit to consistent progress,
you unlock the true power of your potential. Success doesn't come overnight, and it's certainly not about having perfect days. It's about showing up and doing the work, even when it feels hard, even when you're tired, even when every part of you screams to stop. The truth is, progress is made in those moments, when you push through, when everything feels like it's falling apart. That's where growth lives. People often romanticize success. They look at others who have achieved greatness and think it was easy for them. They see the end result, but they don't see the sweat, the struggle, and the countless moments of doubt that went into getting there. Success is not a single leap. It's a series of small steps, taken consistently, even when you don't feel like it. It's about committing to the process and trusting that, as long as you keep moving forward, you will get to where you want to be. Consistency is not just a good habit. It's the habit that separates those who succeed from those who quit. It's the quiet force that propels you even when motivation fades and the challenges seem insurmountable. Motivation is fleeting. It's the daily discipline, the consistent action that builds momentum and eventually creates results. In fact, the most successful people aren't necessarily the ones who have the most talent or the best resources. They're the ones who consistently show up. They've mastered the art of staying in the game, even when the game feels rigged against them. Committing to consistent progress doesn't mean you'll always be at your best. Some days will feel like you're running on empty, and the path forward will feel unclear. But it's precisely on those days that your commitment is tested. It's when it feels hardest that you must push through. The key is not to let the hard days derail your progress. The key is to acknowledge that progress isn't linear. It has its ups and downs, but as long as you keep going, you'll get closer to your goals. Here's the thing, when you're committed to consistent progress, you make the conscious decision to keep moving forward, regardless of how small the steps may be. You stop measuring your progress against perfection and start measuring it against growth. The biggest mistake most people make is expecting quick results. They think if they don't see big changes in the first few days or weeks, it's not working. But change takes time. Growth doesn't happen overnight. It happens piece by piece, day by day, step by step. The key is to trust the process, even when the progress feels invisible. You're going to have days where you question everything. There will be moments when it feels like nothing is changing, no matter how hard you work. But this is when the real test comes. Will you quit, or will you keep going? Those who succeed are the ones who push through the doubt, the frustration, and the temptation to give up. They're the ones who keep going, not because they have some magical power, but because they understand that success is built on consistent, even when imperfect, action. Every small effort counts. Think of it like adding a small drop of water to a bucket every day. One drop doesn't seem like much, but over time, those drops accumulate, and eventually the bucket is full. The same is true of progress. Every effort you make, no matter how small, adds up. Every day you show up, even when it's difficult, moves you one step closer to your goal. And while you might not see the results immediately, the work you put in now will eventually pay off in ways you can't predict. People often stop just before the breakthrough happens. They give up when they're so close to something incredible. Don't be that person. When things get tough, that's when you're closest to the results you want. So instead of turning back, commit even harder. Push through. When you feel the resistance the most, that's when you know you're growing, when you're building something that will last. Consistency also means learning to embrace the hard days. It means accepting that life isn't always going to be easy, and that's okay. The discomfort you feel in those moments is often the growth you need to reach your next level.
Think about the most successful people in history. Did they avoid challenges? Did they turn away from the hard work? Absolutely not. They understood that difficulty is part of the journey. It's a necessary part of the process. If you want to achieve greatness, you must be willing to take on the challenges that come your way. You must be willing to face them head on, not because it's easy, but because it's what will make you stronger. There will be moments when the world around you tries to convince you to slow down, to take it easy, to stop pushing so hard. But those are the moments you must resist. It's easy to do what feels comfortable. It's harder to keep going when it's tough. But it's the harder path that leads to the rewards. If you want to see results, if you want to see real change, you must stay committed to progress, even when it feels like nothing is happening. The key to overcoming resistance is simply to keep going. It sounds so simple, but it's the truth. The more you push through, the easier it gets. The first few steps are always the hardest, but once you build momentum, progress becomes inevitable. The journey gets easier because you've already made the decision to push through. You've already committed to showing up, and that's the hardest part. When you commit to consistent progress, you stop seeing setbacks as failures. Instead, you start seeing them as necessary detours on the path to success. Every obstacle you face is an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to become better. Success is not about avoiding difficulties, it's about learning to handle them, overcoming them, and using them to your advantage. When you keep showing up, when you keep pushing forward, you are training yourself to be better than you were yesterday. And that's what will ultimately get you where you want to be. In the end, consistency is the greatest form of discipline. It's the act of continuing to do what needs to be done, no matter how hard it gets, no matter how much you want to quit. It's about making the commitment to keep going, no matter what, and trusting that every small effort counts toward the bigger picture. Success is built on consistent progress, one step at a time, day after day, no matter what challenges arise. So keep going, even when it's hard. Keep showing up, even when you don't feel like it. Keep pushing forward, even when progress seems slow. Because every moment you commit to progress is one moment closer to the life you've always dreamed of. Chapter 8. Break free from limiting beliefs that hold you back. The greatest prison you will ever face is the one created by your own mind. The limitations you place on yourself are often the very things that hold you back from reaching your highest potential. Break free from these mental chains, and you'll unlock the life you've always dreamed of. The moment you decide to shatter those limiting beliefs, you begin the most empowering journey of your life. Limiting beliefs are the invisible barriers we construct for ourselves. They come in many forms. I'm not good enough. I don't deserve success. It's too late for me, or I'll never be able to change. These beliefs often stem from past experiences, fears, or societal pressures, and they dictate the choices we make and the actions we take, or more often, the actions we don't take. They create a false narrative in our minds, one that holds us back and prevents us from stepping into our true power. But here's the truth. These beliefs are not facts. They are just thoughts, and thoughts can be changed. Imagine for a moment that there are no limits on what you can achieve. Imagine living your life without constantly holding yourself back or worrying about what could go wrong. That kind of freedom is possible, but it requires breaking free from the mental constraints that keep you stuck. It's time to recognize that those beliefs you've held onto for so long are not who you are. They are simply ideas that you've accepted as truth, but they are not permanent. The first step in breaking free from limiting beliefs is awareness. You can't change what you don't acknowledge. So take a step back
and really examine the thoughts that run through your mind daily. What are you telling yourself about your abilities, your worth, your future? Are these thoughts empowering you, or are they keeping you small? For most people, limiting beliefs are so ingrained that they don't even realize they're there. They accept them as part of their identity, thinking that's just the way things are. But once you bring these beliefs to the surface, you can begin to challenge them. Ask yourself, is this belief actually true? Where did it come from? How has it held me back? More importantly, what would my life look like if I didn't believe this anymore? This process requires brutal honesty with yourself, because the truth is often hidden beneath layers of comfort, fear, and old conditioning. But once you confront those beliefs, you can begin the work of dismantling them piece by piece. It's crucial to understand that limiting beliefs are not always based on reality. They are often formed through childhood experiences, societal expectations, or personal failures. For example, if you were told as a child that you weren't good enough, you may internalize that message and carry it with you throughout your life. It becomes a lens through which you view the world, and it shapes your actions, your relationships, and your decisions. But just because you've held that belief for years doesn't make it true. It's just a story you've told yourself over and over again. And the beautiful thing is, you have the power to rewrite that story at any moment. One of the most powerful ways to break free from limiting beliefs is to replace them with empowering ones. For every negative thought, there is a positive and constructive one that can take its place. If you find yourself thinking, "I'll never be able to do this," replace it with "I am capable of learning and growing through challenges." If you catch yourself thinking, "I don't deserve success," remind yourself, "I am worthy of everything I desire." Reprogramming your mind requires constant repetition, but over time, these new beliefs will begin to feel more natural. They will become your truth, and you will start to take action that aligns with this new mindset. Breaking free from limiting beliefs also requires taking risks and stepping out of your comfort zone. Growth happens when you stretch beyond what you thought was possible. It's easy to stay safe and stick with what's familiar, but that's exactly where your limiting beliefs thrive, because they keep you in a place where you don't challenge yourself. To truly break free, you need to push yourself to do things that scare you. You need to take action despite the fear, and in doing so, you'll start to prove to yourself that those beliefs were never true to begin with. Start small. Don't feel like you have to make massive changes overnight. Every step you take outside your comfort zone, no matter how small, is a victory. And with each victory, you'll begin to see that the limits you once believed were real are nothing but illusions. The more you challenge those beliefs, the more you build self-confidence and resilience. You prove to yourself that you are capable of far more than you ever imagined. Another essential part of breaking free from limiting beliefs is surrounding yourself with people who support and encourage you. Negative beliefs can be reinforced by negative environments. If you're constantly surrounded by people who share your limiting beliefs, it can be hard to break free. But when you connect with people who challenge you, uplift you, and believe in your potential, you create an environment that fosters growth. Their belief in you can help shift your own belief system, and their support can give you the courage to take bold action. Don't be afraid to distance yourself from those who doubt your abilities or who hold you back. Surround yourself with people who empower you to dream bigger, aim higher, and take risks. As you begin to break free from limiting beliefs, you will likely encounter moments of self-doubt. It's important to remember that these feelings are part of the process. It's normal to feel uncertain when you're stepping into new territory. But instead of letting doubt stop you, use it as fuel to keep moving forward.
Every time you doubt yourself, remind yourself of your strengths and past achievements. Reflect on the times you've overcome obstacles before, and let those victories serve as proof that you are capable of achieving even more. Doubt is just another form of resistance, and the more you push through it, the stronger and more confident you'll become. Breaking free from limiting beliefs is not a one-time event. It's a lifelong process of growth, learning, and evolving. It's about constantly challenging yourself to think bigger, act bolder, and dream higher. It's about questioning the beliefs that no longer serve you and replacing them with ones that empower you to live the life you truly deserve. It's about understanding that you are the creator of your reality, and the beliefs you hold about yourself determine the outcomes you experience. When you start to let go of the beliefs that have held you back, you will begin to see the world in a new light. Opportunities that once seemed out of reach will now feel within your grasp. You will recognize your own power and potential in ways you never have before. You'll start making decisions that align with your true desires, and your actions will be driven by confidence and purpose. Your entire life will shift because you've broken free from the chains that once limited you. Now is the time to stop living in the shadows of your own doubts. Now is the time to release the beliefs that no longer serve you and embrace the limitless possibilities that await you. You have the power to change your life. You have the power to break free from the limiting beliefs that have held you back for so long. And once you do, nothing can stop you.
Chapter 9. Speak with confidence to influence and inspire others. When you speak with confidence, you unlock the power to influence the world around you. It's not just about the words you say. It's the energy you bring, the belief you carry in every syllable, and the way you hold yourself when the world is listening. Your voice, when filled with conviction, has the ability to move mountains, to ignite change, and to inspire those around you to take action. The truth is, your words hold more power than you realize. But to wield that power, you must learn to speak with unwavering confidence. Many of us hesitate when we speak, doubting our own abilities or fearing how others will perceive us. We hold back, unsure of the impact we'll make. Yet, in every moment that you allow that doubt to take over, you are robbing yourself of an opportunity to shape the world in your image. Confidence in speech doesn't come from having all the answers or being the loudest in the room. It comes from knowing that your voice matters, that what you say has value, and that your presence in the conversation is meaningful. When you speak with confidence, you step into your power, and others take notice. They feel it. They listen. They are moved by it. The foundation of speaking with confidence is belief in your own value. Too often, we hold back from expressing ourselves because we don't believe that what we have to say is important. But the truth is, everyone's voice matters. You are an expert in your own life, your own experiences, and your own unique perspective. No one else has the exact same insights, and that is your power. Embrace your individuality. The confidence to speak with influence comes from trusting in the value of what you bring to the table. Consider the most influential people in history, the leaders, the visionaries, the change makers. What set them apart? It wasn't just their ideas or achievements, it was the way they communicated them. They didn't hesitate or shrink back in fear. They spoke with authority, with clarity, and with passion. They believed in what they were saying, and that belief radiated from them. When you speak with the same conviction, you become a magnet for the attention of others. Your words don't just pass through their ears, they leave an imprint on their hearts and minds. A key element of speaking with confidence is presence. How you carry yourself plays a huge role in how others perceive you. If you stand tall, make eye contact, and speak with a clear, steady voice,
you immediately project confidence. But speaking with confidence is not just about physical posture, it's about having an internal presence as well. It's about owning your thoughts and standing behind them. When you are comfortable with yourself, when you know who you are and what you stand for, that certainty flows through your words. The next critical aspect of confident speaking is clarity. If you want to inspire and influence others, you must speak with clarity of purpose. People are drawn to those who have a clear message and a sense of direction. You must know exactly what you want to convey and communicate it in a way that resonates with others. When your words are clear, concise, and well thought out, they cut through the noise and leave a lasting impact. Clarity also means being able to simplify complex ideas without oversimplifying them. It's about being able to break down your message into digestible pieces that your audience can easily grasp, while still maintaining the depth of what you're saying. People are much more likely to be influenced by someone who can explain things clearly and thoughtfully. So, when you speak, do so with purpose. Focus on your core message and find ways to express it in ways that are easy for others to understand. Equally important is the ability to tell a compelling story. Stories are one of the most powerful tools you can use to influence and inspire others. People don't just want to hear facts, they want to connect with emotions, experiences, and ideas that resonate with them. When you speak with confidence, you don't just speak in dry, transactional terms. You speak in vivid, compelling stories that capture the imagination and stir the emotions of your audience. A well-told story can change the way someone sees the world. It can move them to take action. Another fundamental aspect of confident speaking is being authentic. Authenticity is magnetic. When you speak with authenticity, people feel that you are real. They sense that you are speaking from a place of truth, and that makes your words resonate with them. People can tell when you're trying to be someone you're not, and they'll often disengage. But when you show up as your true self, with no pretenses or masks, your confidence shines through. Authenticity also means embracing vulnerability. When you're willing to share your true thoughts and feelings, you create a deeper connection with your audience. You're not just speaking at them, you're speaking with them. You're sharing a part of yourself that invites others to do the same. This kind of open communication fosters trust and respect, and when others trust you, they are more likely to be influenced by you. Confidence in speaking also comes from preparation. It's impossible to speak with confidence if you don't know what you're talking about. Preparation allows you to speak with authority and clarity. When you are well prepared, you can answer questions, address concerns, and engage in meaningful discussions without faltering. People are drawn to those who are knowledgeable and well prepared, and when you can speak confidently about a subject, you immediately gain their respect. But preparation is not just about memorizing information. It's about being able to articulate your thoughts in a way that aligns with your values, vision, and goals. While preparation is important, it's equally important to be flexible and adaptable when speaking. No two conversations are the same. You may be addressing a large audience or engaging in a one-on-one conversation. You may be talking to people who share your views or people who challenge them. Being able to adjust your approach based on your audience is a key component of confident speaking. The most effective speakers know how to read the room and adapt their message to meet the needs of their listeners. To influence and inspire others, you must also be a good listener. Listening actively and attentively is just as important as speaking. When you listen, you show respect for others' perspectives, and this builds rapport and trust. It's impossible to truly influence others if you're not willing to understand them first. The best communicators don't just speak, They listen and respond in ways that reflect a deep understanding of their audience's needs, concerns and desires. Being confident in your speech also means not being afraid of conflict or disagreement. It's natural to want to avoid confrontation, but it's in moments of disagreement that your true confidence is tested. When you can stand your ground with grace and composure, without getting defensive or emotional, you show the strength of your convictions. You demonstrate that you are not easily swayed by external pressures, and that you are willing to engage in difficult conversations with respect and humility. Finally, the most confident speakers are those who speak from a place of service. When you speak to inspire, to help others, and to make a positive impact, your words carry an energy that is magnetic. People are drawn to those who speak with a genuine desire to contribute, to make a difference, and to elevate others. When you speak with this mindset, you not only influence and inspire others, but you also create an environment where others feel empowered to speak up and share their own voices. Speaking with confidence is not something that happens overnight. It's a skill that is developed over time through practice, self-awareness, and a commitment to personal growth. It's about consistently showing up, speaking your truth, and believing in the power of your voice. When you commit to speaking with confidence, you open the door to unlimited possibilities. You become a beacon for others to follow, a source of inspiration, and a force of positive change. So step into your power, own your voice, and speak with the kind of confidence that inspires the world.
Chapter 10. Trust your intuition and follow your inner guidance. When you begin to trust your intuition, you unlock a powerful force within you, one that guides you toward decisions that are in perfect alignment with your true self. Too often, we doubt ourselves, second-guessing our instincts, and relying solely on external advice or logic to make our choices. But the truth is, your intuition is one of the most reliable and potent tools you have. It is the inner compass that can lead you to places you may never have thought possible, helping you navigate challenges, seize opportunities, and make decisions with unwavering confidence. Intuition is that quiet whisper that speaks to you, even when the noise of the world is loud. It's the feeling in your gut when something feels right or wrong, and it's the sense that you're on the right path, even when the road ahead isn't fully clear. This inner guidance is not based on logic or reasoning. It's based on your own experiences, emotions, and deep understanding of who you are and what you want. When you begin to trust this inner wisdom, you stop searching for validation from others. You stop seeking approval or looking outside yourself for the answers. Instead, you start trusting your own heart, mind, and soul to show you the way forward. One of the first steps in trusting your intuition is learning to quiet the noise of the outside world. In today's fast-paced, information-overloaded society, it's easy to get lost in the opinions of others, in the expectations that society places on you, and in the endless advice and guidance that people seem so eager to offer. But in order to hear your intuition clearly, you must first create space for it. You must silence the distractions and create moments of stillness where you can connect with your inner self. Whether it's through meditation, journaling, or simply taking time each day to be alone with your thoughts, creating this space allows you to tune in to your inner voice. When you start to listen to that voice, you'll begin to notice that it speaks to you in subtle ways. It might show up as a fleeting thought, a feeling that lingers in the back of your mind, or a sudden flash of insight that feels like a revelation. But no matter how it shows up, the more you pay attention to it, the clearer it will become. Your intuition is always speaking to you. It's just a matter of learning to listen, and the more you practice listening,
the more you'll realize that your intuition is a constant source of wisdom that can guide you through every decision in your life. As you start to trust your intuition, it's natural to feel some resistance. After all, we're often taught to rely on logic, facts, and external sources of validation. The idea of trusting something as abstract as your inner voice can feel uncomfortable or even risky. But in those moments of doubt, remind yourself that your intuition is rooted in your unique experiences, your values, and your deepest desires. It is not random or irrational, it's the culmination of everything that you've learned and felt throughout your life. Your intuition knows you better than anyone else ever could. It understands what you need, what will bring you joy, and what will ultimately lead you to your purpose. The more you trust your intuition, the more you'll notice that the path ahead begins to unfold with greater ease. Doors that once seemed closed will open, and opportunities will begin to present themselves in unexpected ways. When you follow your inner guidance, you start to move in alignment with your true self, and the universe has a way of supporting that. Things begin to flow in a way that feels effortless, and you start to realize that when you trust yourself, everything else falls into place. But trusting your intuition doesn't mean that everything will always be smooth sailing. Life has its ups and downs, and there will be times when you question your decisions or feel uncertain about the path you're on. This is where the real test of trust comes in. It's easy to follow your intuition when everything is going well, but what about when you're faced with challenges or setbacks? How do you continue to trust your intuition when the road ahead seems unclear? The key is to remember that intuition isn't just about the good times, it's about guiding you through all of life's experiences. Even when things don't go according to plan, your intuition will help you learn, grow, and adapt. It will help you find strength in adversity and lessons in every failure. When you trust your intuition, you are not just following a simple path, you are embracing the journey in its entirety, knowing that every step, every twist, and every turn is exactly where you need to be. Trusting your intuition also means taking responsibility for your choices. Too often, we look for external factors or people to blame when things don't go the way we want. But when you trust your inner guidance, you take ownership of your decisions. You realize that every choice you make is an opportunity to learn and grow, and even if things don't turn out as planned, you are still moving in the right direction. Trusting your intuition is about stepping into your personal power and taking full responsibility for your life. At times, trusting your intuition may require you to go against the grain, to take a path that others might not understand. But that's the beauty of intuition. It doesn't always follow the rules or the expectations of others. It's about doing what feels right for you, even when it doesn't make sense to those around you. When you start to trust your intuition, you become more willing to step outside of your comfort zone, to take risks, and to pursue what truly lights you up, even if it means going against the norm. Another important aspect of trusting your intuition is learning to embrace uncertainty. The intuitive path is not always clear, and there will be times when you don't have all the answers. But that's okay. Part of the process is learning to move forward with faith, even when you can't see the entire picture. When you trust your intuition, you're not waiting for perfect conditions or the perfect moment. You're moving forward despite the uncertainty, knowing that each step you take brings you closer to the clarity you seek. As you continue to trust your intuition, you'll also begin to see that it is connected to your greater purpose. Your intuition is not just about making the right decisions in the moment, it's about guiding you toward the life you were meant to live. It's the whisper that tells you when you're on the right path, and the pull that urges you to step out of your comfort zone and take a leap of faith. When you trust your intuition, you begin to live with a sense of purpose, knowing that you are aligned with something greater than yourself. And when you live in alignment with your intuition, you become a magnet for the opportunities, people, and experiences that will help you fulfill your purpose. You start to attract the right things into your life, and everything begins to fall into place in ways you never expected. Trusting your intuition is about more than just making decisions. It's about living in harmony with your true self. It's about learning to listen to the whispers of your soul, even when the world is shouting in your ear. And when you start to trust that voice, you will find that you have all the guidance you need to create a life that is full of purpose, joy, and fulfillment. So trust yourself, trust the wisdom that resides within you, and know that when you follow your inner guidance, you are walking the path that was always meant for you. Your intuition is not something to be feared or doubted. It is your greatest ally, and it will always lead you to where you need to be.
Chapter 11. Let go of distractions that hinder your focus. Every second you waste on distractions is a second stolen from your greatness, and you cannot afford to live your life on pause while the world pulls you in 1,000 directions. You were not born to be scattered, distracted, or overwhelmed by noise. You were built to focus, to build, and to rise. But none of that can happen until you make the decision to let go of the things that are stealing your energy, your clarity, and your attention. The longer you allow distractions to dominate your days, the further you drift from the life you're meant to live. If you want to become someone with laser-like focus, it starts with ruthless honesty. You need to look at your life and ask yourself, what is draining me? What am I allowing into my space that adds no value, that weakens my discipline, that pulls my mind away from my purpose? Distractions don't always scream. Some whisper, some come disguised as entertainment, comfort, or harmless habits. But over time they erode your potential. They keep you from doing the deep work, the meaningful work, the hard work that truly builds your future. You don't rise by chasing every notification. You don't grow by giving your attention to whatever is loudest in the moment. You grow by deciding that your mission matters more than your impulses. You grow by building a life where what you focus on is intentional and aligned with what you value. You grow by saying no to things that once consumed your time, and yes to the discipline that will change your life forever. Focus is not something you stumble into, it's something you fight for. Every day is a battle between what matters and what distracts. Every hour is a choice between doing what is hard but important, or doing what is easy but meaningless. If you want to win that battle, you must take control of your environment. You must create boundaries that protect your mind. You must remove the triggers that tempt you to scroll, to escape, to delay. And most importantly, you must remember that nothing changes until you do. Start paying attention to how often you get pulled away from your work. Look at how frequently you check your phone, how often you respond to distractions without thinking, how easily you get caught in loops of unproductive behavior. Awareness is the beginning of change. Once you see the patterns, you have the power to disrupt them. You can't control every distraction that comes your way, but you can absolutely control how you respond to it. You don't need to live at the mercy of every ping, every thought, every urge to check something that doesn't matter. You train focus like a muscle, and just like building your body, it requires repetition, resistance, and pain. You must practice delaying gratification. You must practice being bored and staying with it. You must practice doing one thing at a time, deeply and completely. Multitasking is a lie. It divides your power. It waters down your attention. And when your attention is diluted, your results are mediocre. Your dreams don't deserve half your effort. Your vision doesn't deserve half your energy. Give it everything, or give it nothing, but stop pretending that being busy and being focused are the same thing. Letting go of distractions also means letting go of who you were when you tolerated them. That version of you, the one who said, "Just 5 more minutes," the one who clicked out of discomfort and into convenience, the one who avoided the hard work by hiding in easy tasks, can't come with you. You have to bury that identity. You have to create a new standard for yourself, where anything that pulls you away from your highest priority is a threat to your progress. You're not just cutting out distractions, you're creating space for something greater. Space for clarity, space for discipline, space for momentum to build. Without space, you have no room to grow. And your greatness is suffocating under the clutter you've allowed to surround you. Clean your digital world. Remove the noise. Unsubscribe from the meaningless. Block the temptations. Your mind is a sacred space, and it deserves to be protected like one. There's a hidden cost to every distraction. Time lost, energy drained, focus scattered, and worst of all, confidence eroded. Because every time you break your own focus, you break a little of the trust you have with yourself. You start to question your ability to follow through. You start to doubt your strength to stay committed. And the more you do that, the weaker your self-belief becomes. But the good news is, the opposite is also true. Every time you resist distraction and stay on task, you reinforce a powerful truth. You are in control. You are disciplined. You can trust yourself to show up and do the work. And the people who win in this life, the ones who achieve, who rise, who make a lasting impact, are the ones who take back control of their focus. Not because it's easy, not because they're superhuman, but because they made a decision. I will no longer be ruled by things that don't serve me. I will no longer let my time be stolen by things that don't grow me. I will no longer trade long-term success for short-term comfort. Every moment you're focused, you move closer to mastery. Every moment you're distracted, you drift. So the question is simple: do you want to drift, or do you want to dominate? You can't have both. You have to choose. You have to build a life where your daily habits are aligned with your deepest values, where your actions reflect your commitment to your vision, where your environment supports your focus instead of sabotaging it. And don't just rely on motivation. Build systems. Create rules that protect your time. Schedule deep work. Set limits. Use tools if you have to. But don't rely on willpower alone. Willpower is temporary. Systems are sustainable. Your environment must be structured for success. Eliminate access to your biggest distractions. Make it harder to break focus and easier to stay locked in. Set a time for everything and treat it like it's sacred. Because it is. Your time is the one resource you can never get back. You also need to stop glorifying distractions as a reward. Too many people treat breaks like they've earned them without having done the work. You haven't earned the scroll until you've earned the sweat. You haven't earned the rest until you've done the deep work. And you certainly haven't earned peace if you've spent your day avoiding the hard stuff. You want confidence. Build it by being someone who follows through. You want clarity. Earn it by diving deep into your priorities. You want purpose. Create it by doing what matters even when it's uncomfortable. The truth is, most distractions aren't accidents, they're habits. They're rituals of avoidance that you've built over years. But just because you've been distracted doesn't mean you're destined to stay that way. You can reclaim your focus. You can rebuild your attention. You can design a new relationship with time, one that's powerful, intentional, and committed. When you live without distractions, you live with direction. You begin to move forward faster.
You feel momentum building. You start stacking wins, and each win fuels the next. You become harder to stop. Your work deepens. Your confidence grows. Your clarity sharpens. And all of a sudden, the life you once dreamed about becomes the life you're building every day. Not because of luck, but because of focus. Letting go of distractions isn't about being perfect, it's about being aware. You'll slip, you'll get pulled off track, but the goal is to catch it quickly and get back to what matters. The faster you return to focus, the more powerful you become. This isn't about becoming a machine. It's about becoming the master of your own attention. And that is a rare and powerful thing in today's world. You are capable of doing extraordinary things, but not if you're constantly surrendering your focus to things that don't deserve it. Guard your mind like it's your most valuable possession, because it is. Train your focus like it's your most powerful weapon, because it is. And build a life that reflects your highest potential, not your lowest distractions. It all starts with one decision. I will no longer let distractions decide who I become. I will no longer allow my time, my energy, or my focus to be wasted. I choose clarity. I choose discipline. I choose purpose. And from this moment on, I commit to protecting my focus like my life depends on it, because it does.
Chapter 12. Cultivate patience while working toward your long-term goals. The reason most people never reach their greatest potential is simple. They quit too early, they get frustrated too fast, and they never learn how to master the one skill that separates winners from wishers. Patience. Real growth, lasting progress, and meaningful success demand a mindset that can endure discomfort, delay gratification, and stay committed long after the excitement fades. You don't build a legacy in a weekend, you don't transform your life in a few weeks, and you certainly don't achieve your highest goals by rushing through the process. You build greatness by cultivating the discipline to keep going when nothing around you is moving as fast as you'd like. You have to understand this. Anything worth achieving is going to take longer than you expect. The journey is supposed to test you. It's supposed to make you doubt, to push you to your limits, to stretch your capacity until you realize that what you once thought was impossible is simply the result of consistency applied over time. But most people don't want to hear that. They want quick fixes, instant wins, and overnight success. They want to plant seeds in the morning and harvest by sunset. But that's not how real success works. Real success grows underground before it ever becomes visible. It builds roots before it shows results. It strengthens your foundation before it reveals the outcome. So if you're serious about your goals, then you need to get serious about patience. Not passive waiting, but active, focused, persistent effort, day after day, whether it's glamorous or not. You need to accept that long-term success doesn't come from chasing motivation. It comes from discipline, from showing up, from doing the work even when you don't feel like it, from putting in the reps even when no one's watching, from holding the vision in your heart even when the results haven't caught up yet. Every time you feel like quitting, that's a test. Every time it feels like nothing is working, that's a challenge to your belief. And every time you keep going anyway, you build something far more powerful than just progress. You build resilience, grit, and unshakable self-respect. You prove to yourself that you're not just chasing a fantasy. You're committed to a future that you're building one brick at a time. That's the real power of patience. It makes you unstoppable because you no longer rely on results to fuel your action. Your action becomes your standard. Your consistency becomes your identity. Your patience becomes your strength. Most people waste years because they keep switching paths.
They start something, face resistance, and jump to the next thing hoping it'll be easier. But there is no easy path. There is only the one you choose and stick to with discipline, faith, and effort. Every time you restart, you delay your finish. Every time you change direction out of frustration, you lose momentum. Patience is what keeps you grounded in the face of delay. It keeps you focused when progress is slow. It keeps you moving forward when your emotions want to pull you sideways. Let this be your mindset. It doesn't matter how long it takes. What matters is that you're willing to see it through. Whether it takes months, years, or decades, you're here for the long game. You're not chasing the finish line. You're becoming the kind of person who refuses to stop until the mission is complete. You wake up with clarity, not urgency. You work with purpose, not panic. You stay steady when others rush and crumble. Patience isn't weakness, it's power. It's the ability to delay gratification while staying fully committed to the process. It's the strength to keep building even when it seems like nothing's changing. It's the discipline to keep showing up even when it's boring, lonely, or difficult. It's what separates those who talk from those who execute. Because anyone can be excited for a week. Anyone can grind for a month. But only the patient keep going until the vision is reality. You need to learn how to trust the process, even when the process is slow. You need to remind yourself that time is a multiplier, not a limiter. The longer you stay focused, the greater the results you'll build. Your job is not to speed up time, it's to use time. To fill every day with effort, to stack every week with discipline, to build every month with intention. Progress is invisible at first, but it's never wasted. Every rep counts, every step forward compounds, every ounce of effort accumulates into a future that belongs to the patient and persistent. Stop expecting the reward without the wait. Stop chasing success like it's supposed to come on your timeline. Stop thinking something is wrong just because it's taking time. Nothing is wrong. This is how it works. This is how all great things are built. Slowly, quietly, repetitively, through failure, through doubt, through setbacks, through days where you question everything but still refuse to stop. You must understand that patience is a decision. It's not a feeling. You don't wait because it feels good. You wait because it's necessary, because the alternative is quitting, because giving up is not an option when you truly care about what you're building. Impatience will destroy your momentum. It will fill your mind with doubt. It will make you question yourself, your goals, and your worth. But when you practice patience, you reclaim your power. You remind yourself that time is on your side, not against you. That growth takes time. Mastery takes time. Transformation takes time. And you're willing to pay that price. You need to commit without conditions. No more waiting for motivation. No more demanding fast results. No more letting time discourage you. You're not in this to impress anyone. You're not in this to post highlight reels. You're in this to build something real. And real things take time. So breathe, focus, lock in, and keep moving forward. Even if it's slow, even if it's hard, even if no one sees the work. Keep moving. One day, your patience will pay off. One day, you'll look back and realize that every delay had a purpose. That every slow season was shaping you. That every moment of stillness was preparing you for something bigger. But only if you keep going. Only if you don't give up. Only if you understand that your long-term goals require long-term commitment. You are planting seeds today that will feed your future. And you don't need applause. You don't need validation. You don't need fast results. You need endurance. You need faith. You need patience. So write this into your identity. I am someone who stays. I am someone who finishes. I am someone who plays the long game. Let others rush. Let others quit. Let others get distracted. But not you. You're locked in. You're focused. You're committed. And no matter how long it takes, you will keep showing up. You will keep doing the work. You will keep believing in what you're building. Because the life you want is on the other side of patience. The results you crave live beyond the waiting. The success you dream of is already yours, if you're willing to outlast the delay. So be patient, be relentless, be unshakable. You're on your way.
Chapter 13. Focus on growth by learning from every experience. Every moment in your life, whether it brought you joy or pain, is a lesson that was sent to shape you, refine you, and elevate you. And until you learn how to extract wisdom from every experience, you'll keep repeating cycles that keep you stuck. Growth isn't something you stumble into. It's something you fight for by choosing to learn from everything, especially the moments that test you. If you want to become someone who rises above limitations, you need to rewire how you interpret your experiences. You need to see your life not as a random collection of events, but as a training ground for greatness. Every mistake you've made holds insight. Every delay you've faced has a message. Every challenge you've battled contains a blueprint. But most people don't slow down long enough to see it. They get upset. They blame others. They numb the discomfort, and they rush into the next distraction, hoping to escape what they felt instead of asking, "What did I need to learn from this?" You cannot evolve if you avoid. You cannot grow if you deny the lesson. Life will not stop throwing tests at you until you decide to stop reacting and start reflecting. You want to be powerful? Then stop wishing life were easier and start becoming someone who can handle more. That kind of growth requires the courage to look at every experience with brutal honesty. Why did it hurt? Why did it fail? Why did I hesitate? Why did I settle? Ask better questions and life will give you better answers. Real self-development doesn't come from reading quotes. It comes from taking a hard look at your life, seeing where you went wrong, owning your decisions, and using the experience as fuel to rise stronger. If you only value wins, you will miss the wisdom in the losses. If you only cherish ease, you'll never appreciate the strength built through struggle. You grow when you stop running from reality and start listening to it. What is your life trying to teach you right now? Are you ignoring the patterns that keep showing up? Are you avoiding the lessons that discomfort reveals? Stop playing the victim and start acting like the architect. Your experiences are not curses. They're your curriculum, and your job is to study them, understand them, and transform because of them. You have to let go of the illusion that you need to be perfect. You don't. You just need to be honest. Every experience, even the ones you're ashamed of, can be transformed into wisdom if you own them fully. Stop hiding from your failures. Stop pretending the pain didn't change you. Use it. Leverage it. Let it sharpen your perspective and deepen your discipline. There's power in your scars, but only if you stop pretending they don't exist. Growth comes when you stop hiding behind who you were and start leaning into who you're becoming. Start looking at everything through the lens of development. If someone disrespected you, learn to set better boundaries. If you failed to follow through, identify the habits that sabotaged you. If you hesitated in a moment of opportunity, figure out where fear still controls you. That's growth. That's how you level up. You study the experience. You squeeze the lesson from it. You integrate the wisdom into your next decision. And you do this relentlessly, day after day, because you're not just living, you're evolving. Stop craving a life without problems. Crave the strength to grow through every one of them. Life is your teacher, not your enemy. Every closed door teaches you to knock louder, ask better, or build your own. Every delay teaches you to prepare more deeply. Every betrayal teaches you to be more selective with your energy. Nothing is wasted when you're committed to growth. Nothing is meaningless when you see life as a mentor instead of a burden. The people who grow the fastest aren't the ones who never fall, they're the ones who get back up with more clarity, more direction, and more intention than before. They don't just move on, they move forward with understanding. They don't just try again, they try wiser. They don't just hope for better, they become better. And you can too. But you have to decide right now that from this moment on, everything you experience is going to serve your evolution. No more playing small. No more wasting lessons. No more blaming others. Everything in your life, good, bad, or confusing, is there to make you stronger, sharper, and more self-aware. Ask yourself, how can I use this? What is this teaching me? Where is the opportunity to grow in this situation? Do not waste your pain. Do not overlook the value of discomfort. Some of your greatest breakthroughs will be born from your darkest moments. Some of your best decisions will be shaped by your worst mistakes. But only if you pay attention. Only if you refuse to numb out, and instead decide to show up with awareness. You are not here to be perfect. You are here to progress. Every day is a new chance to review what happened, learn from it, and move forward with more purpose. You will not always get it right. But if you keep learning, you'll always get better. That's the mindset that wins. That's the mindset that separates growth-driven people from those who stay stuck in cycles of avoidance, blame, and stagnation. You don't need to be the most talented. You just need to be the most teachable. You just need to turn every experience into information that sharpens your vision and builds your mental resilience. The people who truly transform are not lucky. They're intentional. They observe their habits. They track their emotional responses. They ask themselves hard questions. They do the inner work. And because of that, they grow faster, they recover stronger, and they lead themselves with integrity. Be that person. Be the one who refuses to stay asleep to their own patterns. Be the one who learns from every relationship, every failure, every win, every delay. Growth doesn't happen automatically. It happens because you choose to extract insight from life, instead of just moving through it blindly. It happens because you stop making excuses and start making evaluations. It happens because you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this teaching me? That's how you elevate. That's how you evolve. That's how you outgrow your past and walk into a future that you're consciously building. Start keeping a mental record of what each experience is shaping in you. If you lost something valuable, what did it teach you about attachment? If someone underestimated you, what did it reveal about your belief in yourself? If you've been stuck in the same cycle, what decision are you avoiding that could finally break the pattern? These are the questions that matter. These are the questions that open the door to real growth. And the more you ask them, the more power you gain over your future. Your mind must become a student of your life. Your awareness must become your weapon. And your decisions must be guided by reflection, not emotion. It's easy to react. It's harder to review. But if you want to grow, you have to master the art of reviewing your life, like a coach watching game footage. What worked? What didn't? What do I need to adjust? That's how you evolve. That's how you stop repeating the same mistakes year after year. That's how you become someone who turns life into a personal development course with no off switch. You are the author of your growth. No one is coming to hand it to you. No one is going to force you to reflect, to review, to change. That's your responsibility. That's your power. And the more you lean into it, the more life starts to reward you with progress that actually lasts. Growth is not a trend. It's a way of living, a way of thinking, a way of approaching every single experience with the belief that there is something here to learn, to strengthen, to develop. And when you truly adopt that belief, nothing in life can break you, it can only build you.
Chapter 14. Build mental toughness through discipline and persistence. Most people want results, but very few are willing to suffer through the grind that builds the mental toughness required to actually earn them. They want to be confident, but they don't want to endure the failures that forge unshakable belief. They want to be unstoppable, but they avoid the very struggles that develop persistence. That's the truth no one wants to hear. Mental strength isn't gifted. It's built, and it's built through consistent, disciplined action when it's hardest to keep going. Mental toughness is forged in the fire of repetition. You train it every time you get up early when your mind tells you to sleep. You grow it when you show up for your goals on the days you feel least motivated. You build it by choosing responsibility over comfort and progress over excuses. It's not built in a moment of inspiration. It's earned through 1,000 small choices that no one sees, when no one is clapping for you, when no one is pushing you, when quitting would be easier, but you don't. That's where real toughness lives. Discipline is the foundation of every great achievement. Without it, talent is wasted. Without it, vision fades. Without it, your potential rots. Discipline isn't about being perfect. It's about being consistent, even when you're not at your best. It's about showing up to your priorities when distractions are screaming louder than your purpose. The difference between people who live on repeat and those who evolve is how disciplined they are when life gets heavy. Some fold, some fight, some freeze. But those who keep moving forward, even inch by inch, those are the ones who win. You can't build mental toughness by taking the easy route. Every shortcut weakens your edge. Every excuse delays your progress. Every time you retreat from discomfort, you rob yourself of growth. Persistence means you keep showing up through boredom, fatigue, frustration, and doubt. It means you don't ask whether it's working yet, you trust that it is. You keep going, not because it's easy, but because you know the payoff is in the perseverance. You stay loyal to the process even when results are invisible. Everyone wants the final chapter, but few are willing to write every painful page that comes before it. Real mental strength is learning to push through the days when nothing feels like it's working. It's about grinding when the excitement is gone. It's about believing in the vision even when no one else sees it. If you can't push yourself when no one is watching, then you don't want it badly enough. Stop waiting for someone to motivate you. Motivation comes and goes. Discipline keeps you grounded. You have to make discipline your identity, not just your tool. You don't just do discipline, you live it. You choose it in how you talk to yourself. You choose it in how you spend your time. You choose it in whether you keep promises to yourself. Mental toughness is the result of a decision you make every day. Will I control my behavior, or will I be controlled by my feelings? Most people are driven by emotion. They wait to feel like doing something. But feelings lie. Feelings change. Discipline doesn't. Discipline is steady. It shows up no matter what. It's easy to be strong when life is calm. The question is, who are you when everything feels chaotic? Can you still execute when you're tired? Can you stay focused when you're overwhelmed? Can you stay on your path when it seems like nothing is working? That's when mental toughness is tested.
And those are the moments where you either sharpen your resilience or you break under pressure. Discipline is not just doing the hard work, it's doing it with intention, doing it when you don't want to, doing it when it no longer feels exciting. Persistence doesn't mean you never get discouraged. It means you never stop. It means you have every reason to quit, but you keep pushing forward because deep down you know that success isn't for the convenient. It's for the committed. It's for the obsessed. It's for the disciplined few who understand that growth doesn't happen by accident. It happens when you're willing to endure more, stay longer, and repeat the fundamentals until they become part of your DNA. You want mental toughness? Stop negotiating with your weaknesses. Stop listening to that voice that says, it's okay to skip today, or you can do it later. Every time you choose comfort over commitment, you strengthen the part of you that gives up, and that part will grow louder. But if you choose the discipline even when it's inconvenient, you silence the weakness and reinforce your strength. It's not about being extreme. It's about being consistent. Do what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. You don't have to be the smartest or the most talented, but you do need to be the most disciplined. You need to outlast the noise, outwork the doubt, outfight the distractions. Every time you persist, you build grit. Every time you stick to your schedule, you reinforce mental control. Every time you keep going without seeing results, you train your mind to depend on action, not outcome. That's how you build toughness that doesn't break. That's how you become someone who wins even when it's hard. Your mind can either be your master or your servant. With discipline, you train it to obey your higher self. With persistence, you prove to yourself that no excuse is stronger than your will. Weakness fades when you expose it to daily challenge. Fear shrinks when you push into it instead of backing away. Every time you go one more rep, one more mile, one more day, you earn a new level of respect for yourself, and that self-respect compounds. It becomes the foundation for unshakable confidence. The most powerful people you admire, they weren't born with bulletproof minds. They built them through repetition, through showing up, through saying no to distractions, through doing what others weren't willing to do. You can have that same strength. You can develop that same resilience. But you have to stop playing small. You have to stop giving up at the first sign of resistance. Start showing yourself who you are. Not with words, not with motivation, with action. Wake up with discipline. Go to bed with intention. Spend your day pushing yourself to stay focused when your mind wants to wander. You're not weak, you're just undertrained. You're not broken, you're just distracted. Toughness is built one decision at a time, one routine at a time, one sacrifice at a time. If you keep giving in to ease, you'll always doubt your strength. But if you commit to doing hard things every single day, you'll reach a point where your mind becomes unbreakable. There will be days when your energy is low, when your vision feels distant, when everything feels like it's moving slower than it should. And that's exactly when most people quit. That's when they say, it's not working. But that's not the truth. The truth is, it's working, but only for those who persist long enough to see the payoff. If you quit, you'll never know what could have happened. But if you stay consistent, you'll wake up one day in a place you once dreamed of, and you'll realize it wasn't talent that got you there. It was mental toughness, discipline, and relentless persistence. Nobody can give you discipline. Nobody can make you mentally strong. It's something you choose every morning. It's a decision you make every time you feel like giving up, but don't. And every day you make that choice, you become harder to break. You become more focused. You become more in control of your life. That's the real reward, not just the results, but the person you become on the path to earning them. So build yourself, strengthen yourself, train yourself. Don't wait for the perfect moment, train through the chaos. Don't wait for motivation, train through boredom. Don't wait for others to believe in you, train until you can't be ignored. Discipline and persistence are not glamorous, but they are what separate the ones who talk from the ones who conquer. Be the one who conquers. Be the one who persists. Be the one who earns their toughness through action, day after day, until nothing can stop you.
Chapter 15. Take ownership of your environment to foster success. Success doesn't happen in chaos. It grows in an environment you've intentionally shaped to support it. You can't build discipline in a space that invites distraction. You can't build strength if you're surrounded by weakness. And you will never create your best life if you keep living inside an environment that feeds your worst habits. If you want to rise, the first step is not motivation, not a new goal, not another plan. It's ownership. Full, aggressive ownership over the space you live in, the people you allow close, the habits you keep, and the choices you reinforce every day. You are a product of what surrounds you. If your environment is messy, your mind becomes scattered. If you're constantly hearing negativity, your thoughts start to echo it. If your daily atmosphere is filled with distractions, your focus gets hijacked before you even begin. That's why your environment isn't just a background, it's a blueprint. It's the silent architect that either builds your success or dismantles it brick by brick. The greatest transformation doesn't always begin within. It often starts with what you're willing to remove from your life. You don't just need willpower, you need structure. Willpower is limited. It runs out, but structure, that's renewable, that's sustainable. When your environment is engineered to support your goals, you don't have to fight your surroundings. They work for you, not against you. You wake up into a world that reinforces discipline instead of temptation. You sit down to work, and your space signals clarity instead of chaos. You walk through your day knowing that everything around you was placed with intention. That's the level of control that turns goals into lifestyles. Look around your life right now. What is silently pulling you backward? Is your room a mess? Are your digital devices disorganized and full of distractions? Do you keep toxic relationships out of obligation or fear? Are you surrounding yourself with people who normalize mediocrity instead of challenging you to be better? These aren't minor issues, these are anchors. And no matter how fast you want to move forward, you can't fly if your environment keeps dragging you down. You have to cut the rope. You have to declutter everything that slows you down, physically and mentally. When you take control of your environment, you take control of your life. Because the truth is, you're always training something. You're either training your focus, or you're reinforcing your distractions. You're either setting up systems that help you stay committed, or you're letting convenience dictate your behavior. There's no neutral. Every decision you make about your surroundings is either making your goals easier or harder. Success is about creating friction for your bad habits and flow for your good ones. That starts by being ruthless with what stays in your world. Want to read more? Put books in plain sight. Want to stop scrolling? Delete the apps. Want to eat better? Don't bring junk food home. Want to wake up early? Build a calming evening routine. Small environmental changes compound into massive behavioral shifts. Most people try to change themselves while staying in the same broken system. That's like planting a seed in toxic soil and expecting it to grow. It won't. The seed isn't the problem. The environment is. Fix the soil, and the seed can finally become what it was meant to be. Your environment includes people too. And this might be the hardest truth of all. If the people around you don't challenge you, they are limiting you. You can't soar around those who crawl. You can't dream big while living among those who mock ambition. You can't talk discipline in a room where excuses are applauded. You have to upgrade your circle with the same discipline you apply to your goals. Sometimes the greatest act of self-respect is walking away from those who refuse to grow. Not with anger, not with hate, but with a quiet decision to choose your future over your past. Build a circle that talks growth. Build a space that feels clean, calm, and focused. Build habits into your environment so deeply that they become automatic. Make excellence easy to access and mediocrity hard to reach. This is what ownership looks like. You don't wait for things to improve. You shape your world so it reflects your values, not your urges. You build routines, remove friction, install boundaries, and protect your energy like your life depends on it, because it does. Let others live reactively. You build proactively. Let others be casual. You become intentional. You don't have to control everything, but you must control what you allow around you. Don't let clutter stay because you're too tired to clean. Don't keep toxic connections because you're too afraid to be alone. Don't keep your phone by your bed if it's the first thing that steals your time in the morning. You don't rise to the level of your dreams. You rise to the standard of your systems. Set a new standard by taking ownership of every detail within your reach. Rearrange your physical world to support mental clarity. Eliminate noise so your mind can think deeply. Build habits into the layout of your home, your workspace, and your digital life. The more energy you save from avoiding distractions, the more you can use to build your future. Greatness isn't about superhuman effort. It's about smart environments that make the right behavior easy and the wrong behavior hard. The next level of your life will demand a different setting than the one that got you here. Don't fear change. Embrace it as the cost of growth. Move your furniture if you must. Switch locations if your current one holds you back. Wake up earlier. Work in silence. Simplify your space. Every change you make to your environment is a silent declaration that you refuse to settle. You refuse to stay small. You are building a life that makes success the default. Stop tolerating spaces that drain you. Stop making excuses for clutter that fogs your clarity. Stop assuming that willpower will save you when structure is what's missing. You already have the desire. What you need now is alignment. Your environment must reflect the discipline you claim to value. Your surroundings should be a mirror of your highest self, not a reminder of your past weaknesses. It's not about perfection. It's about improvement. Every drawer you clean, every app you delete, every room you simplify, every person you distance from, each one is a step toward a better version of yourself. Don't wait for the world to change. Build your own world and protect it. Be so committed to your vision that your environment becomes an extension of your purpose. This isn't just about success, it's about freedom. Because when your environment is built for growth, you no longer need to fight yourself to stay focused. You no longer waste energy on temptation, disorganization, or noise. You wake up in a world designed to help you win. That's what gives you peace. That's what creates clarity. That's what turns ambition into reality. Not just effort but alignment. Take ownership of what surrounds you. Take ownership of what you tolerate. Take ownership of every inch of space that you move through, every sound you hear, every object that demands your attention, every person who speaks into your life. Success isn't just about hard work. It's about smart design. Shape your world until it reflects your values, and watch how fast your life begins to transform. Chapter 16. Align your actions with your values and purpose.
If you're tired of feeling like you're running hard but going nowhere, it's time to stop chasing noise and start aligning with your purpose. The truth is, action without alignment is just motion. You can hustle every day, fill your calendar with tasks, grind from morning to night, and still feel empty if your actions are not rooted in your values. You don't just need to move, you need to move in the right direction. That direction must be defined by your principles, not by pressure. It must come from your soul, not from social trends. When your actions match your values, life starts to feel real. It starts to feel like it actually belongs to you. That's when progress begins to feel purposeful. So many people live misaligned. They do what they think they're supposed to do, follow paths that were handed to them, chase goals that aren't theirs, say yes when they mean no, and wake up wondering why they feel disconnected. It's because their outer life and inner truth don't match, and that mismatch creates pain. It creates restlessness. It creates burnout. You were never meant to abandon your values just to keep up with the world. You were never meant to water down your truth to fit into someone else's idea of success. Your purpose isn't outside you, it's built into your being. And every time you act against it, you weaken your own foundation. You don't need to look for meaning, you need to live with it. Your actions are either honoring your deeper self or betraying it. Every time you compromise your integrity for convenience, you lose a piece of yourself. Every time you do something just to be accepted, you teach yourself that your truth isn't enough. That's why alignment isn't optional. It's survival. It's about preserving your self-respect in a world that constantly tempts you to sell out. You cannot build a strong life on a foundation of dishonesty. You must build on values that never change, even when everything else does. Ask yourself what you really stand for. What are the principles that matter to you regardless of circumstance? What are the truths you would defend even if no one agreed? What is the vision that keeps calling you even when it's inconvenient? Now take a look at your actions. Are they aligned? Are your choices reflecting your deepest beliefs? Are your daily routines built around your purpose? Or are they shaped by fear and distraction? If your calendar doesn't match your convictions, that gap will cost you. Maybe not today, but eventually it always does. You cannot live a powerful life if your behavior is rooted in fear, guilt, or people-pleasing. You must choose to live boldly and act in ways that reflect your inner code. This means saying no when it's unpopular. This means making sacrifices for the long term. This means being honest when it would be easier to hide. And this means building discipline around what truly matters, not around what's trendy or easy, but around what's meaningful and enduring. The more your actions reflect your inner truth, the more peace you'll feel even in the middle of challenges. Alignment isn't about perfection, it's about consistency. You will make mistakes. You will have off days. You will fall into old patterns sometimes. But the goal is to always come back to your values, to use them as your anchor and compass. Your values are the map. Your purpose is the destination, and your actions are the steps. If you don't check your map often, you'll end up somewhere you don't belong. You'll wake up one day successful in someone else's life, living someone else's dream, wondering why you feel so lost. That's the cost of ignoring alignment. Look at how you spend your time. Does it reflect what you say is important to you? Look at how you speak to people. Does it reflect the kind of character you want to have? Look at how you handle adversity. Does it reflect the strength you claim to be building? Integrity isn't just about being honest with others, it's about being honest with yourself. And the deepest form of self-respect is acting in ways that match what you believe. When your actions align with your purpose, your life starts to make sense. You stop questioning your worth. You stop seeking approval. You stop feeling like you're lost in a crowd because you're finally walking your own path. The world will try to distract you. It will tell you to chase speed instead of meaning. It will tell you to compare instead of create. It will tell you to fit in instead of standing tall. But when you live aligned, none of that noise matters. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop surviving and start building. You stop running from yourself and start living from your core. And that's when your power shows up, not in fake confidence but in quiet strength. Not in noise but in depth. You cannot be everything to everyone and stay true to yourself. You have to choose. You can either live a life that is yours or a life that is shaped by everyone else's expectations. You can either stay busy trying to be impressive, or you can be deeply fulfilled by being authentic. One brings temporary praise, the other brings long-term peace. But you can't have both. So choose your values, define your purpose, and then match your actions to them like your life depends on it, because it does. True focus comes from alignment. You no longer need external motivation because you're internally clear. You don't waste time on things that don't matter because you know exactly what does. You stop doubting yourself because you're not trying to be anyone else. You know who you are, you know what you stand for, and you live that way even when it's hard. That's what makes you unshakable. Not your results, not your reputation, but your commitment to living a life that reflects your truth. Even the small things count. The way you speak, the way you handle your money, the way you show up in private when no one is watching, all of it either strengthens your alignment or weakens it. That's why you must be mindful in every area. Don't just talk about discipline, live it. Don't just talk about kindness, practice it. Don't just talk about purpose, act on it. Every step you take is either leading you closer to who you want to become or taking you further from it. Stop looking outside for direction. The truth is already inside you. Your job is to remove the noise, strip away the layers of conditioning, and get back to your core. From that place, build a life that honors your unique vision. Don't copy anyone. Don't try to replicate someone else's path. Your values are yours for a reason. Your purpose is tailored to your soul, and your alignment is the bridge that connects them to real action. Every time you act out of alignment, you feel it. You feel it in your gut. You feel it in your mind. You feel the stress, the confusion, the fatigue. That's your soul telling you something is off. And every time you act in alignment, you feel a deep calm, even when things are hard. You feel peace because your mind and heart are on the same page. That's the feeling of living right. That's the reward of choosing integrity over convenience. There is no shortcut to fulfillment. You have to earn it by living truthfully, not just in public but in your private choices. Not just when it's easy, but especially when it's hard. The more you do this, the stronger you become. You stop being fragile. You stop being reactive. You start living with grounded power. Because you're no longer controlled by circumstances, you're guided by values. That's what real success looks like. So the next time you're unsure about what to do, don't ask what's popular. Ask what's right. Don't ask what's easy. Ask what's aligned. Don't ask what others think. Ask what your purpose requires. This is how you build a life that's not just impressive from the outside, but deeply fulfilling from the inside. Live like your values matter. Act like your purpose is real.
because it is. And the world is waiting for the version of you that finally chooses to live that way.
Chapter 17. Push through fear by taking bold and decisive actions. Fear is not your enemy. Inaction is. Most people spend their lives avoiding fear, retreating from the unknown, waiting for the right time, hoping courage will magically arrive. But that day never comes. You don't overcome fear by waiting. You defeat it by acting. You make it shrink by walking into it. Every breakthrough, every transformation, every level of power you want in life lives on the other side of decisive, bold action. You cannot think your way past fear. You must move through it with action that refuses to hesitate. There is nothing comfortable about growth. You're going to be afraid. You're going to feel exposed. You're going to doubt yourself. But the cost of staying stuck is always greater than the temporary discomfort of pushing through. Every time you hesitate, you give fear more control. Every time you delay action, you surrender your power. The only way to build the life you want is to stop making decisions based on fear and start making them based on who you want to become. Boldness doesn't mean you're not scared. It means you act despite the fear. It means you look at the thing that intimidates you and move anyway. It means you walk into the fire instead of walking around it. You don't need to feel ready. You don't need to feel confident. You just need to decide that your future matters more than your comfort. You just need to care more about becoming who you're meant to be than protecting who you are right now. Playing it safe will never lead to greatness. Only action does. The kind of action that others avoid. The kind that makes your heart race. The kind that separates those who live fully from those who just survive. You will never eliminate fear completely, but you can train yourself to stop obeying it. You can train your mind to act when it wants to freeze. You can train your heart to lean in when everything inside of you wants to back down. The longer you avoid what scares you, the more power it has over you. But when you step into it, you discover something new, your strength. You begin to realize that fear is just a signal, not a stop sign. It's there to show you where your growth lives, not to keep you trapped where you are. The people you admire, the ones who've done what you want to do, they weren't fearless, they were just done being controlled by fear. They reached a point where staying the same was more painful than taking the leap. They made a choice. You have that same choice. You can continue sitting on the sidelines, watching your potential fade, or you can step up, speak up, move forward, and change everything. It only takes one bold moment to rewrite the story you've been stuck in. Decisiveness is power. When you hesitate, you lose momentum. When you overthink, you waste energy. When you analyze endlessly, you create imaginary problems that don't exist. But when you decide and act, you generate clarity. You build confidence. You discover what works and what doesn't. But most importantly, you take control. Stop asking for permission to live your life. Stop waiting for guarantees. Stop pretending you need more time. You don't. What you need is to commit. Boldly, unapologetically, immediately. It's not about reckless action. It's about courageous action. There's a difference. Reckless people move without thought. Courageous people move in the direction of what matters, even if it's difficult. You already know what you need to do. You've known for a while. You've been thinking about it, maybe journaling about it, talking to people about it, but not doing it. It's time to stop spinning in circles and take the first step. That step might be messy. It might be awkward. It might even feel wrong. But it's forward, and forward is all that matters. Everything you want in life is on the other side of action. Your dreams, your freedom, your purpose,
They're waiting for you to act, not to plan, not to wish, not to rehearse, to act. You don't need more information. You need execution. Knowledge is only potential power. Real power is movement. Real change happens when you move your feet, when you make the call, when you say what needs to be said, when you try and fail and try again. That's how you grow. That's how you rise. Fear thrives in silence. It grows in delay, but when you move, you strip it of its strength. You expose it for what it is, a shadow, not a wall, a projection, not reality. Most of what you fear won't even happen, and if it does, you'll be ready. Because by acting you build resilience. By stepping forward, you prove to yourself that fear doesn't have to stop you. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to be willing to be uncomfortable, willing to be wrong, willing to try. That willingness is everything. The moment you act, something inside you changes. You become someone different. You're no longer a prisoner of hesitation. You're a builder, a fighter, a leader of your own destiny. Every bold decision is a vote for the person you're becoming. Every time you take action while afraid, you train your mind to trust your strength. And over time, that becomes your new default. Not fear, but forward motion. Not doubt, but discipline. There will be setbacks. There will be moments when fear hits harder than ever. But now you know how to respond. You don't collapse. You don't hide. You don't spiral. You anchor yourself in action. You use fear as fuel. You let it sharpen your focus, not scatter it. You turn it into movement, into clarity, into momentum. That's the difference between those who grow and those who shrink. One turns fear into motion, the other turns it into an excuse. Bold action creates breakthroughs. That one conversation you keep avoiding could unlock a new chapter. That one risk you keep postponing could be the key to everything. But you'll never know until you try. That's the truth. Most people never face their life stays small because they avoid boldness. They avoid risk. They avoid anything that might make them uncomfortable. And so they stay exactly where they are, year after year, wondering why nothing changes. You were not born to live in fear. You were born to lead your life with courage. You were built to stretch, to evolve, to face the fire and come out stronger. But it won't happen by thinking. It won't happen by talking. It happens by doing, by showing up, by acting before you feel ready. Because readiness is not a feeling, it's a decision. You decide you're ready. The moment you move, and the second you move, everything begins to shift. Fear will always whisper in your ear. It will always try to pull you back into safety. But you're not here to play small. You're here to grow into your power, to chase something meaningful, to rise above what scares you. Not because it's easy, but because you're done living a life that doesn't reflect your potential. You're done playing a role in a story you didn't write. From now on you lead. You act. You build. You move forward with purpose and boldness. That's how you win. That's how you take your life back, one decisive action at a time.
Chapter 18. Set clear goals and break them into actionable steps. If you want to change your life, you must learn to give your actions a clear target. Without a goal, your energy scatters, your focus weakens, and your effort becomes inconsistent. You start things you don't finish. You drift through your days, reacting instead of creating. But when you have a clear goal, everything changes. Your time becomes valuable. Your priorities sharpen. Your choices carry purpose. You wake up with direction and go to bed with progress. Setting clear goals isn't just about having ambition. It's about transforming intention into execution. A goal gives your life structure. It's the blueprint you use to build discipline, consistency, and momentum. Without it, you fall into the trap of doing what's urgent instead of what's important. You get stuck in survival mode. You waste days on distractions. You confuse movement with progress. But when you define exactly what you want, your mind starts to align with action. You stop chasing everything and start building something. You become specific, and that specificity becomes your power. Clarity removes confusion. You can't hit a target you haven't set. You can't grow if you don't know what you're growing into. Vague desires produce vague results. If you keep telling yourself you just want to be successful or just want to be happier, you'll never know if you're getting closer or further away. You have to define success in a way that can be measured. You have to make happiness something you create, not something you wait for. Write your goals down. Make them real. Make them visible. Because if you don't see them, you'll forget them. And if you forget them, you'll live another year repeating the last one. A clear goal is only the first step. The next is to break it down into action. Most people fail because they set goals that are too big with no real path. They overwhelm themselves by trying to do too much all at once. But big goals aren't accomplished by massive action. They're built through small focused steps repeated consistently. If your goal is a mountain, you don't climb it in one leap. You take one step, then another, then another. You don't need to conquer the whole thing today. You just need to make progress. Every goal can be broken into systems. Systems are what you do daily, weekly, and monthly to get closer to where you want to be. If you want to write a book, your system is writing a page a day. If you want to build a business, your system is making calls, improving your offer, showing up every single day. The system creates progress. The system builds confidence. The system keeps you grounded when motivation disappears, and it will disappear. That's why your steps must be clear. You can't rely on feeling inspired. You need to rely on structure. One of the greatest ways to stay consistent with your goals is to create milestones. Don't just aim for the finish line. Set checkpoints. These are the small wins that show you you're on track. When you track your progress, you build momentum. You see the results of your effort. You reinforce your belief in the process. And belief is fuel. The more you believe, the more you act. The more you act, the more you grow. And the more you grow, the closer you get to everything you want. There will be days you want to quit. That's normal, but a clear goal and actionable steps will remind you why you started. When you feel tired, your plan gives you direction. When you feel lost, your next step pulls you back in. It's not about being perfect. It's about staying consistent. It's about showing up with purpose even on the hard days. It's about trusting that every small step matters, even when it doesn't feel like it. Too many people wait until everything feels right to get started. They wait for motivation, clarity, support, or the perfect time. But clarity comes through action, not before it. You gain insight by doing. You learn what works by trying. And you adjust your steps along the way. You don't need a perfect plan. You need a clear direction and the discipline to start. Action brings clarity. And once you move, the path begins to reveal itself. Setting goals forces you to think long-term. It pulls you out of the chaos of the present and reminds you of the future you're building. It shifts your focus from what's easy to what's essential. When you're grounded in a goal, you stop wasting energy on things that don't matter. You stop comparing your path to others. You stop chasing approval and start chasing growth. And with every clear step you take, you gain control over your time, your energy, and your life. Your goals must reflect who you want to become, not just what you want to achieve. A powerful goal is connected to purpose. It's rooted in your values. It doesn't just motivate you, it transforms you. That kind of goal demands focus, effort and courage. It will challenge your habits. It will expose your excuses. It will require you to face the parts of yourself you've been avoiding. But in that process, you'll become someone stronger, clearer, and more capable. Make your goals impossible to ignore. Write them on your wall. Read them every morning. Talk about them with people who believe in you. Obsess over them. Feed your focus. And when you start drifting, return to the plan. Return to the steps. Return to the system that will carry you through the noise. The moment you treat your goals casually, you start losing momentum. But when you treat them like a mission, you ignite the fire to keep moving forward. Small steps compound. 1 call, 1 workout, 1 page written, 1 hour of focused effort. Over time, these moments create transformation. But only if you stay committed. Only if you refuse to give up when it gets hard. Only if you hold yourself accountable to the process. Your life doesn't change when you set a goal. It changes when you start living in alignment with it daily. You don't rise by luck. You rise by strategy. You rise by planning your steps and then acting on them. You rise by turning your time into something meaningful. And that starts with intention. That starts with defining exactly what you want and reverse engineering it into doable, trackable actions. If your goals feel too big, break them down further. If the plan feels unclear, simplify it. You don't need complexity. You need clarity. 1 step at a time. 1 task each day that moves the needle forward. That's how you create results. That's how you separate yourself from those who only wish and hope and talk. You act. You build. You move forward, no matter how slow, because you know where you're going and why it matters. You can't outsource your ambition. No one is going to build your life for you. No one is coming to rescue you from mediocrity. It's on you. And that's a good thing, because it means you have the power to shape your future. Right now, with your choices, with your actions, with your habits. You don't need permission. You need a decision. And once you decide, you need a plan. And once you have a plan, you need relentless execution. There will always be distractions. There will always be reasons to postpone. But your goal should burn brighter than your excuses. Your vision should be so clear that nothing can pull you off course. Not opinions. Not fear. Not setbacks. You lock in. You commit. You move forward with discipline. Not just for a few days, but for as long as it takes. Because you're not chasing comfort. You're chasing greatness. And that kind of chase requires direction, structure, and unwavering action. If you're serious about leveling up your life, start treating your goals like non-negotiables. Stop waiting to feel ready. Stop letting fear dictate your pace. Stop hiding behind indecision. Decide what you want. Break it down. Take the first step, then the next. The journey will test you, but it will also build you, and in that process, you'll discover that you've had the power all along, not just to set a goal, but to reach it, live it, and become the person who made it real. Chapter 19. Reflect daily to understand your growth and mistakes. You will never understand your true power unless you pause long enough to recognize how far you've come and how much further you can go. Reflection is the secret weapon of the relentless. It's the daily check-in that keeps you sharp, humble, and intentional. While the world celebrates hustle and movement, the ones who evolve fastest are the ones who take time to evaluate. Because speed means nothing if you're running in circles. Progress means nothing if you don't know why it's happening, and you can't fix what you're not willing to look at. Every day carries lessons, but most people rush past them. They repeat the same decisions, make the same mistakes, and wonder why nothing's changing. Reflection is how you break that cycle. It's how you separate noise from signal. When you build the discipline to review your day with honesty, you begin to notice the subtle patterns shaping your life. You spot what's working and what's silently dragging you backward. You recognize what needs to be improved, not next month, not next year, but right now while it's fresh, while it still matters. Self-reflection is not about guilt. It's not about self-judgment. It's about clarity. You're not reflecting to beat yourself up. You're reflecting to lift yourself up. It's about having the courage to face your truth, even when it's uncomfortable. Because hiding from your flaws won't make them disappear. Pretending you didn't make a mistake won't make it right. Growth demands that you face the full reality of your choices, with no filter and no excuses. When you sit down at the end of the day and ask yourself, what did I do well today? What did I learn? What could I have done better? You are actively shaping your mindset. You are giving your brain direction. You're rewiring your instincts to chase awareness instead of autopilot. And the more you practice this, the sharper you become. You don't let days go to waste. You don't get stuck in loops. You become intentional with your energy. You hold yourself to a higher standard. You don't need an hour to reflect. You just need 5 minutes of radical honesty. 5 minutes with no distractions, no justifications, no lies. Because if you can't be honest with yourself, you'll never build the internal power it takes to lead yourself. Your greatest breakthroughs won't come from someone else's advice. They'll come from your own self-assessment, done consistently, with complete ownership. That's what reflection builds. It builds self-leadership. Most people don't lack knowledge. They lack accountability. They know what they should be doing, but they're not doing it. They know what's slowing them down, but they haven't stopped it. Daily reflection eliminates that disconnect. It forces alignment. If you say you want discipline, you better be tracking it. If you say you want results, you better be reviewing your output. That's the mindset of a builder, someone who's not content to just dream, but committed to constructing their life from the ground up, brick by brick. When you reflect, you start identifying the habits that are quietly shaping your future. You realize that those small decisions, what time you wake up, how long you scroll, what you tell yourself when you're tired, are all stacking up. They're either reinforcing your progress or sabotaging it. Daily reflection makes the invisible visible. It turns blurry behavior into clear insight, and that clarity gives you control. Without it, you live reactively. With it, you live intentionally. Reflection is how you evolve faster than the chaos around you. It's how you avoid wasting time learning the same lessons again and again. It's not enough to experience growth. You have to extract the meaning from it. You have to decode the lessons that adversity is trying to teach you. Every failure, every frustration, every missed opportunity, it all has something to offer, but you only get that value if you're willing to revisit it, to dissect it, to understand what led to it, and how you can move better next time. There's power in writing it down. When you take your thoughts out of your mind and put them on paper, you create distance. You make your thoughts observable. You can challenge them. You can question them. You can reframe them. Journaling your reflections turns vague emotions into concrete understanding. You start to notice what triggers your stress, what fuels your focus, what kills your momentum. And when you know those things, you can adapt with precision.
Consistency is everything. Reflecting once a month won't do it. You forget the details, you rationalize the mistakes, you miss the subtle progress you made. But when you reflect every single day, even for a few minutes, you build awareness like a muscle. You become someone who notices their own life in real time. You catch yourself before you drift. You course correct before the damage is done. You grow, not just over time but every day. You have to be brutally honest, but not brutal. There's a difference. Being honest means owning your part. It means facing the truth about your actions, your focus, your discipline, your mindset. But it doesn't mean shaming yourself. It doesn't mean attaching failure to your identity. Reflection should be constructive, not destructive. You're not trying to tear yourself down. You're trying to rise with more self-awareness than you had the day before. One of the greatest things you can do during your reflection is look for recurring patterns. Are you always distracted at a certain time? Do you keep breaking the same promise to yourself? Are you constantly avoiding one particular action? Those patterns are not random. They are signals. They are telling you where your inner work still needs focus. When you reflect daily, you stop ignoring those signals. You stop living in denial. You start becoming a student of your own behavior. You'll notice progress too. Sometimes we're so focused on what's next that we forget to celebrate how far we've come. Reflection reminds you of your wins. It shows you the effort you put in. It proves that the grind is paying off. That recognition builds confidence. It fuels resilience. When you know that your hard work is creating change, you become unstoppable. You trust the process. You trust yourself. The discipline to reflect is rare, and that's why it's powerful. Most people don't want to sit with themselves. They don't want to think about the day, because it means facing what they didn't do. But if you can develop the courage to reflect, you will develop the strength to rise. You'll never get stuck for long. You'll never lose yourself completely. Because even when you slip, your awareness will pull you back. That's what daily reflection creates. An inner compass, a voice that keeps you grounded when the outside world gets loud. You won't get it perfect every time. You might skip a day. You might avoid a painful truth. But don't stop. Keep returning to the mirror. Keep asking the hard questions. Keep choosing growth over comfort. Because every day you reflect, you sharpen your edge. You build wisdom. You build emotional intelligence. You train your mind to work with you instead of against you. If you really want to transform your life, stop waiting for external changes and start developing internal clarity. That clarity comes from reflection. That growth comes from knowing yourself, your strengths, your weaknesses, your patterns, your power. The more you know yourself, the less you fall for distractions. The less you waste time chasing things that don't align with your values. The less you settle for mediocrity. You start making decisions that are rooted in awareness, not impulse. Reflection turns pain into purpose, mistakes into fuel, challenges into training. You realize nothing was wasted. Every setback became a setup. Every loss taught you how to win. But you only see that if you take the time to look. You only feel that when you stop running and start reviewing. Your greatest teacher is your own experience, but only if you study it. So tonight, before you sleep, pause for 5 minutes. Ask yourself, what did I learn about myself today? Where did I show strength? Where did I fall short? What can I do better tomorrow? And then make a plan. One small change, one adjustment, one new action. That's how you grow with reflection, then correction, then execution. Do this every day and watch your awareness expand.
Watch your habits evolve. Watch your results compound. Most people drift because they don't review. You won't be one of them. You'll reflect. You'll refine. You'll rise. Because you've made the decision to take full ownership of your growth. Not just once in a while, but every single day. Chapter 20. Embrace failure as a stepping stone to future success. Failure is not your enemy. It is the raw material of your success. It's the forge where greatness is made, the crucible where your potential is tested. When you embrace failure as a natural part of your journey, you unlock the secret to extraordinary growth. Every time you fall, you rise stronger, wiser, and more prepared. The only real failure is the refusal to learn from your mistakes. Too many people see failure as a dead end. They think it's a sign that they're not good enough, that they're not capable, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Failure is an invitation to grow, to push your limits, and to evolve in ways you never imagined. If you are going to succeed, you must first be willing to fail, and to fail with the understanding that it is not permanent. It is just a stepping stone. One of the most powerful mindsets you can cultivate is seeing failure as a necessary part of the process. It's not something to fear or avoid, it's something to embrace. Every successful person you admire, every breakthrough story you've heard, has been built upon failures. They are not extraordinary because they never fell. They are extraordinary because they refused to stay down. They chose to learn from each setback, to use it as a foundation for future growth. You have that same power. You must understand that success is never a straight line. It's a series of twists, turns, setbacks, and comebacks. The road will not always be smooth, and you will not always win. But every loss is a lesson in disguise. It is the moment you're forced to ask, what could I have done differently? And more importantly, what can I do next? It is in these moments that your character is forged, your resilience is built. Many people avoid taking risks because they're afraid of failing. They're afraid of the discomfort, the shame, and the perceived judgment. But what if I told you that the pain of failure is not as bad as the regret of not trying? The sting of failing is temporary, but the regret of never going for it, never taking that leap, lingers for a lifetime. Every failure you experience is a reminder that you are in the arena, that you are playing the game, and that you are taking control of your life. Failure doesn't mean you're not good enough. It means you're trying. It means you're pushing boundaries and venturing into the unknown. And in that process, you are expanding. You are growing in ways you can't yet understand. Each failure is an opportunity to break down the barriers of what you thought you were capable of and reach new heights of achievement. But only if you're willing to see it that way. When you fail, you face your weaknesses head-on. You see the gaps in your knowledge, the areas where your skill set needs to grow, the habits you must break. Failure, then, is a mirror. It doesn't lie. It shows you exactly where you stand, where you need to improve, and where your potential lies. The best part is that this feedback is priceless. It's the feedback you don't get from success. When you win, you celebrate. When you fail, you learn. And that learning is what will take you to the next level. But failure also teaches you the importance of perseverance. It teaches you that success isn't about never falling, it's about falling and getting back up. It's about resilience. It's about grit. When you fail, you are given the opportunity to practice perseverance, to show yourself that you are stronger than any setback, tougher than any obstacle. The more you fail and the more you rise, the more you strengthen your inner resolve. You train your mind to be unshakable, to weather any storm. When you embrace failure, you also free yourself from the fear that holds you back. Fear is the greatest thief of potential. It keeps you locked in comfort zones,
afraid to take action, afraid to risk. But the more you fail, the more you realize that failure is not something to fear. It is a part of the journey. It is a necessary component of success. When you stop fearing failure, you open yourself up to infinite possibilities. You stop seeing obstacles as roadblocks and start seeing them as opportunities to rise higher. It's crucial that you understand that failure does not define you. You are not your failures. Your failures are simply the experiences you've had, the lessons you've learned, and the steps you've taken on your way to success. Do not let one failed attempt, one mistake, or one setback convince you that you are not capable. You are a creator, and creators fail. It's part of the process. Every great idea, every great invention, every great achievement was born out of a willingness to fail and try again. What's even more powerful than failure itself is what you do with it. Do you let it break you, or do you let it propel you forward? Do you wallow in disappointment, or do you take what you've learned and apply it with a renewed focus and energy? Your response to failure is what separates the successful from the unsuccessful. Those who embrace failure with grace and use it as fuel for growth are the ones who eventually reach their goals. They learn, they adapt, they rise. Embracing failure also means that you are no longer afraid of being imperfect. You are no longer afraid of not having all the answers, of not knowing exactly what will happen next. When you embrace failure, you embrace uncertainty. You stop needing a guarantee and instead focus on progress. You recognize that every step forward is a victory, no matter how small, and every failure, no matter how painful, is simply part of the process. The most successful people in history didn't let their failures define them, and neither should you. They failed over and over again, but they learned from each mistake, they adapted, and they kept going. That's the mindset that creates real, lasting success. And it's available to you too. If you want to achieve anything in life, you must be willing to fail, often and repeatedly. But if you embrace that failure with an open heart and a determined mind, it will carry you to heights you never thought possible. Every failure brings you one step closer to success, because every failure is a lesson, every failure is an opportunity, and every failure is proof that you are on the path of growth. So the next time you fail, don't despair. Don't think that it's over. It's not, it's just the beginning. Failure is not a wall, it's a bridge that connects you to your future success. Use it, learn from it, grow through it, and when you rise from it, you'll be unstoppable.